Chapter 40, 189. Its wings spanned tens of thousands of kilometers. It was so large that there was no end to it. It was definitely the great Pung sovereign beast of the great Pung race. It was second only to the savage ancestor. That's right. All right, I won't waste words with you. I'm going to retrieve something. The great Pung sovereign beast opened its mouth and sucked in like a black hole. It sucked in all the lightning on the Thunder Mountain. In the air above the Thunder Mountain, there is a huge bead. It was like a bright moon, but it released powerful lightning. Ha ha ha, this is it. The Thunder Immortal Pearl. With this pearl, the rising young experts of the savage beast race will be able to reach the heavens in a single bound. The great Pung sovereign beast swallowed the Thunder Immortal Pearl in one gulp. However, the terrifying lightning released by the bead still burned him. What a powerful item! No wonder the forefather wanted me to bring it back. The great Pung sovereign beast was surprised, but also very proud. Sovereign beast, are you talking about Jin Tunri and Long Chin? Yu Xiangtian asked in surprise. You're quite knowledgeable. Jin Tunri, Long Chen, and Cold Plum. The three of them are the future of the savage beast region. The forefather has already accepted them as disciples. They're now the young masters of the savage beast region. In the future, when the young disciples of the 9 realms compete, the savage beast region will definitely win. You've got what you want. Let's go back. The great Pung sovereign beast left with a wild laugh. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, was completely shocked. The great Pung sovereign beast had mentioned 3 names: Long Chin, Jin Tunri, and Cold Plum. Long Chin and Cold Plum were Ling Xiao's good friends. As for Jin Tunri, if he guessed correctly, it was very likely Little Gold. He hadn't expected that after the savage beast region's beasts brought them back, they'd actually be put in an important position. It seemed that he'd made the right decision back then. What was good to his friends was good to him, since the 3 of them were the savage ancestors' personal disciples. It was very likely that they'd become the top geniuses of the 9 realms. In that case, he'd have to work even harder. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to compare to those 3. Ling Xiao was happy for his friend. However, he didn't dare to say it out loud. After all, once he got involved with the savage beast race, regardless of whether it was the Heavenly Devil Ghost Territory or the Golden Heavenly Domain, none of them are good places. Before he had the ability to protect himself, there were many things that needed to be done in a low-key manner. Go back. Yu Xiangtian was somewhat dispirited. He could only watch helplessly as someone else snatched away the heavenly demon claws, most precious treasure. There was nothing they could do. It was because the Fengdu Devil Kingdom's demon, Venerable, had died. That was why he was bullied. Otherwise, even the Tian Pung sovereign beast would not have dared to behave atrociously in the Fengdu Devil Nation. Ling Xiao, follow me. Yu Xiangtian glanced at Ling Xiao. After Qi Niming and the others escaped, Ling Xiao's value was not as great as imagined. Of course, the demonic epiphyllum was still in Ling Xiao's body. He had to bring this kid back first. Otherwise, this brat would really go all out and use the demonic Sirius. Then he would really be in trouble. Sure. Ling Xiao did not refuse. Green Lotus, Sword Maiden, and Forefather Scarlet Flame were both in the Yu family, so of course he had to go. Although he had killed many of the Yu family's martial artists, as long as the demonic Sirius was there, he had the initiative. Moreover, the golden flame seal that Huang Jinrufeng had struck on Yu Xiangtian's forehead was also a deterrent to the Yu family. The Yu family did not know his identity. Then they did not dare to kill him easily. After all, this might concern the survival of the Yu family. Lord Demon King, this kid killed many of our disciples. Are you going to let him off so easily? Yu Qiong roared. This guy was clearly unwilling to accept this. Shut up. Look at your performance this time. It's simply stupid to the extreme. Not only did you not obtain the demonic Sirius, but you also made yourself look neither human nor ghost. I only know that if Ling Xiao had not blocked the Beast Tide and the Yin Demon King, more people from the Yu family would have died. Yu Xiangtian looked at Yu Qiong coldly and said, I'm really disappointed in you. If you really had the ability, perhaps Yu Qin wouldn't have died. Yu Xiangtian didn't care about those dead trash at all. But when Yu Chen was killed, his heart ached. After all, he was a genius of the Yu family. And the key to Yu Chen's death was Yu Qiong's idiotic actions. All right, if there's anything, talk about it after returning to the Yu family. Yu Xiangtian didn't want to listen to Yu Qiong's nonsense anymore. What happened in Fengdu Demon Forest this time was much more complicated than he had imagined. Human demons, heavenly demons, thunder demons, savage beast race, and even golden heavenly region were involved. Even he felt a headache coming on. Yu Qiong couldn't tell that he was in a difficult position. She insisted that he kill Ling Xiao here. Wasn't this going to kill him? He's gone. Are you still watching? Looking at Ling Xiao's departing figure, Ghost Sword asked his sister, Night Demon. When he was in danger, I couldn't help. Night Demon sighed. Then I can only say that you're too weak. Go back. You didn't obtain the demonic Sirius this time. Let's do as Master said and cultivate in seclusion. He has already found a place for us to improve our strength. Ghost Sword was actually not convinced in his heart. He was in existence at the peak of the Pale Realm. But in front of you, Xiangtian, Huang Jinrifeng, and Dapeng Beast Venerable, it wasn't worth mentioning at all. But what was even more depressing was that he actually lost to Ling Xiao in the battle for the demonic Sirius. This was really infuriating. So he had to become stronger. He wanted Dapeng Beast Venerable. He wanted to make Yu Xiangtian his defeated opponent. Moreover, he absolutely couldn't let Ling Xiao surpass him. Let's go. Night Demon nodded. Thinking back to what happened this time, she was even more depressed. She thought she was already very strong. But after encountering so many troubles, she couldn't solve them at all. In the end, she had to rely on Ling Xiao, her brother, so she had to become stronger. On the other side, on the way back to the Yu family, Ling Xiao didn't seem like a guy who was coerced at all. He appeared very relaxed and looked at Yu Xiangtian with a smile. I wonder if Sister Jiao Jiao is doing well. Sister Jiao Jiao? What Sister Jiao Jiao? Yu Xiangtian was stunned for a moment, not realizing who Ling Xiao was asking. Senior really knows how to joke. Ling Jiao Jiao. Senior, haven't you noticed? Her surname is Ling, and my surname is also Ling. She has been my sister since we were in the small town in the western region. She is my sister in this reincarnation. Ling Xiao smiled faintly. What? Hearing these words, Yu Xiangtian and the others were all dumbfounded. He even almost fell from the sky. Ling Jiao Jiao once said that she had a younger brother who she loved very much. She also said that he was in a small city in the western region. They had promised Ling Jiao Jiao that as long as they had the chance, they would go to the western region to bring this child over, because this was the only person Ling Jiao Jiao cared about. But they never thought that they would actually meet Ling Xiao here. You are Ling Xiao? Yu Xiangtian asked loudly. It's the real one. Ling Xiao of the western region is me. If Ling Jiao Jiao is also from the western region, then you can't be wrong. She is my sister, and I am her brother. Ling Xiao said with a smile. Genius 1, second, remember the site address. Mobile version, reading website. Chapter 40-190. The reason why Ling Xiao revealed the matter of him knowing Ling Jiao Jiao was mainly to see Yu Xiangtian's attitude towards Ling Jiao Jiao. Because until now, Ling Xiao still couldn't confirm whether Ling Jiao Jiao had really been possessed. After all, it was just a guess. That's impossible. Yu Qiong shouted from the side. How is that possible? That's the western region. It was impossible for anyone to come to the 4 regions and 9 worlds from that godforsaken place. The reason why Ling Jiao Jiao could come was because she was brought here by the princess of the Golden Heavens region. You think it's impossible, but that's the truth. Ling Xiao glanced at Yu Qiong indifferently and said, although the western region is a godforsaken place, the spiritual energy is thin. It can't be compared to the 4 regions and 9 worlds. Basically, as long as a martial artist is sent there, it's impossible for them to come over without the guidance of a powerhouse. I'm naturally no exception. I believe you all know that Green Lotus, Sword Maiden, and Ancestor Scarlet Flame are both my subordinates. They call me Young Master. My father's status in the Golden Heavens region is not inferior to the Golden Emperor. He was the one who brought me here. I originally planned to go to the Golden City to cultivate, but I heard about Sister Jiao Jiao. That's why I came here. By chance, I participated in the fight for the demonic epiphyllum in the Fengdu Devil Forest. After all, this thing is very important to me to break through to the divine body realm. Ling Zhao's words were half true and half false, and Yu Xiangtian had no way to verify it. The entire Fengdu Devil Kingdom had no way to verify it. So whatever he said was the truth. Even if Yu Xiangtian didn't believe it, he would definitely be afraid. Facing the son of a powerhouse in the Golden City, he didn't dare to act recklessly. Huang Jinrofeng could easily kill him, not to mention a powerhouse of that level. Wait, Yu Xiangtian suddenly asked. Why didn't Huang Jinrofeng greet you? Are you stupid? Ling Xiao looked at Yu Xiangtian as if he was looking at an idiot and said, Huang Jinrofeng is just a servant of our family. Who does he think he is to be qualified to know of my existence? Do you know how much trouble it will cause if my identity is exposed in the Golden Heavens region? Idiot, if my father could expose my identity, he would have brought me to the Golden City long ago. Why would he let me fool around outside? However, he felt especially guilty and felt that he owed me. So, if someone really wants to harm me, then the next one to appear won't be Huang Jinrofeng. It's him. Ling Xiao deliberately put on the appearance of a powerful second generation, making Yu Xiangtian feel fear and apprehension. It could be seen from the situation when he faced Huang Jinrofeng. This Yu Xiangtian was simply a coward. Huang Jinrofeng had only threatened him slightly, but it had scared him into telling Huang Jinrofeng the real way to get rid of the curse. Even if Yu Xiangtian didn't believe all of what he said, he would definitely be very afraid. That was enough. By the way, you haven't told me how Sister Jiao Jiao is doing. Ling Xiao asked. Don't worry, the demon son is doing great. Yu Xiangtian laughed. Demon son? Ling Xiao was stunned. That's right. Your sister will become the next demon lord's successor. Naturally, she will be the demon child. Yu Xiangtian explained. Your sister is very hardworking. In the future, he would definitely become the #1 genius of the Heavenly Devil Ghost region. She even became the strongest demon lord. That's good. I haven't seen her for a long time. I miss her very much. If I have to say it, my father can be considered her uncle, although I haven't seen him for many years. But after all, we are related by blood. You can't treat my sister badly. Ling Xiao turned the tables. Yu Xiangtian was being toyed around with. How could that be? We have always been very good to the demon son, and the demon son is about to inherit the position of demon lord. How could we dare to be disrespectful to her? Yu Xiangtian hurriedly explained. This scene made Yu Qiong, Yu Feng, Yu Luan, and Yang Zhan extremely angry, but there was nothing they could do. Even Yu Xiangtian didn't dare to act rashly in front of Ling Xiao. What could they do? How much courage did they have to be destroyed by others? They could only sulk and be angry. I wonder how long young Master Ling will be delayed in the Yu family this time? Yu Xiangtian asked. I'll have to stay there for at least a month. I haven't seen my sister for a long time. I want to catch up with her. I have other things to do in the Golden Heavens domain. Ling Xiao said. That's great. That's great. Ling Xiao said with a frown. I mean, to be able to let our Yu family entertain young Master Ling as a host. It's simply too great. Yu Xiangtian hurriedly said. Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. Do you really think I'm an idiot? I don't know what you're thinking. You just think that the longer I stay, the more likely you are to take away the demonic epiphyllum from me. But this is good too. You want me to stay longer, and I need to stay longer. Thoroughly investigate, sister, Jiao Jiao's matter. Just like that, the two of them each had their own ulterior motives. As they chatted, they tried to find some clues from the other party's words to restrain the other party. The place where the Yu family was located was the capital of the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. It was called Fengdu City. Fengdu City was actually not too far from the Fengdu Devil Forest. The key was that there was a teleportation formation nearby. It only took 1 or 2 days to arrive safely. While rushing to the teleportation formation outside the Fengdu Devil Forest, Ling Xiao was really into his role. He acted as the illegitimate son of a Golden City expert. Whether it was his tone, expression, or even temper, he tried his best to be realistic. Of course, Yu Xiangtian also asked a lot of questions about the Western region. From this, he could determine whether Ling Xiao's words were true or not. In any case, he definitely did not believe that a martial artist could run from the Western region to the 4 regions and 9 worlds, and become so powerful. Ling Xiao naturally knew the Western region like the back of his hand. However, Ling Xiao avoided some things that involved the changes in the Western region. He could not let these experts know about the changes in the Western region. Otherwise, they would definitely not allow the Western region to develop. Even though the Heavenly Empire was already very powerful, compared to these powerful forces, it was still far from being able to compete. Ling Xiao definitely did not want the Western region to be targeted because of a few words of his, and then destroy it. That would not be worth the loss. He was acting, and he was very immersed in it, but at the same time he was very calm. He was even very cunning. From Yu Xiangtian's words, he had deduced some useful information. Green Lotus, Swordswoman, and Forefather Scarlet Flame were indeed locked up, and they had been tortured. But considering the relationship with the Golden City, the Yu family did not dare to kill or cripple the two of them. When he heard this, Ling Xiao almost couldn't hold it in, but in the end he endured it. He couldn't do it now. He couldn't use force. There was only one demonic Sirius. Once used, there would be no more. This thing was like a strategic weapon, used to deter the enemy, not used to attack directly. It was not a conventional weapon. Ling Jiaojiao's matter made Ling Xiao feel very strange. It seemed that Ling Jiaojiao was very free in the Ling family, and there were no signs of her being possessed or being under house arrest. Genius 1, second, remember the site address. Mobile version, reading website. Chapter 40, 191. Ling Xiao didn't know what Ling Zhaojiao's situation was for the time being, but when they arrived at the Yu family, everything should be clear. Soon, everyone arrived at the teleportation array outside the Fengdu Demon Forest. They were directly teleported to Fengdu City. The entire Fengdu City was basically under the control of the Yu family. It could be said that because the former demon Venerable belonged to the Yu family, this also allowed the Yu family to grasp the right time and place. Now that the Qi family had been destroyed and the Blackfire sect had been destroyed, the Yu family could be said to be a super force that truly controlled the entire Fengdu demon kingdom. Originally, Yu Xiangtian was quite complacent about this, but what happened in the Fengdu demon forest made him feel humiliated and afraid. Whether it was Huang, Jinrifeng, or Dapeng, they were much stronger than him, even though they were both divine body realm martial artists. The gap was too big. Ling Xiao, after we return, I will go into seclusion. When the time comes, someone will specially entertain you. You can stay as long as you want. You don't have to be polite. You can even treat the Yu family as your own home. Yu Xiangtian wanted to go into seclusion to increase his strength. He no longer planned to care about the trivial matters of the family, because it was too much of a waste of time. Anyway, the Qi family and the Blackfire sect had been destroyed. The other forces had also announced their allegiance to the Yu family. Let the core-shattering realm martial artists control the Yu family. In addition to the 2 demon kings of the Yu family, there were also 8 core-shattering realm powerhouses. They were called quasi-demon kings. They held the position of elder in the Yu family. It was enough to rely on them to manage the Yu family. Yu Xiangtian had a son called Yu Qiren. He was already a man in his 50s. His cultivation had also reached the 9th level of the core-shattering realm. He was about to step into the divine body realm. As soon as he arrived at the Yu family, Yu Xiangtian handed Ling Xiao over to this person to take care of. Qiren, this is an important guest from the Golden City. You must treat him well. In addition, immediately release the Azure Lotus, Swordswoman, and Ancestor Scarlet Flame. Bring this important guest to see them. Release those 2 people? Yu Qiren frowned, seemingly puzzled. Father will tell you the details later. Just do as I say first. Yu Xiangtian didn't want to talk about those embarrassing things in front of outsiders. All right then. Yu Qiren looked at Ling Xiao and didn't see anything special about Ling Xiao. But since his father had spoken, he did as he was told. Then Yu Xiangtian left. Yu Qiren arranged a place for Ling Xiao to stay. Thus, he personally went to release them. Ling Xiao waited quietly in the room. The place that Yu Qiren arranged for him was not bad. However, he could sense that someone was constantly using their spiritual consciousness to check the situation here. It was obvious that he wanted to keep an eye on him. Ling Xiao smiled coldly. If he wanted to avoid the surveillance, wouldn't it be a piece of cake? Young master, please have some tea. From now on, Xiao, I will be your servant girl. In this small attic, there was actually a beautiful servant girl arranged to be in charge of it. He was capable and experienced and had outstanding looks. It seemed like the Yu family had really put in a lot of effort. Yes. Ling Xiao nodded. He drank his tea quietly and waited. About 10 minutes later, 2 familiar auras came from outside, but they were very weak. Ling Xiao frowned and hurriedly went out to greet them. Azure Lotus Swordswoman and Ancestor Scarlet Flame were covered with injuries. Their hair was messy, and their faces were dirty. Obviously, they had just been released from prison. There were hidden injuries in their bodies, and they were very serious. For the time being, they couldn't even fight. Looking at the 2 of them, he didn't say anything, but his eyes were filled with crazy killing intent. The 2 of them were imprisoned because they wanted to protect him. He had to take revenge for this. Xiao, you can leave now. Ling Xiao looked at Xiao and said, Young Master Yu Qiren said that I have to serve you well. Xiao, I had an indifferent expression. Obviously, she didn't want to listen to Ling Xiao's order. Get lost. Ling Xiao suddenly unleashed his terrifying killing intent. He was like a devil king who had returned from hell. Xiao was an early heavenly core warrior, but facing Ling Xiao's terrifying aura, her face turned pale. Young master, this is the Yu family. Xiao still didn't leave. Although she was scared, she had received Yu Qiren's order to stay by Ling Xiao's side. This time, Ling Xiao didn't waste any time. He directly struck out with his palm. Xiao was blasted out of the room. Of course, Ling Xiao had shown mercy. He knew Xiao was just following orders. If not, he would have killed her already, because he was very angry right now. Very angry. The door was closed. Ling Xiao took out a formation refining stone and sealed off the entire room. The divine sense from the outside world could no longer enter. Young master, we're useless. Azure Lotus, Swordswoman, and Ancestor Scarlet Flame both kneeled down. They were ashamed. Get up quickly. Ling Xiao hurriedly helped the 2 of them up. If not for the 2 seniors, I'm afraid I would have been killed. Please don't say such things, or else I'll feel even more guilty. He quickly took out some healing pills and fed them to them. At the very least, it could temporarily suppress their injuries. As for completely healing them, it would probably take some time. He didn't know what kind of torture methods the Yu family used. The internal injuries of these 2 were even more terrifying than the external injuries. If they weren't treated properly, they would really be crippled. After the 2 of them took the pills, they went to other rooms to bathe and change their clothes. After tidying up, they came out again. Was it Yu Xiangtian who captured you? After the 2 of them sat down, Ling Xiao asked, Azure Lotus Swordswoman nodded with a wry smile. No, the one who attacked us was Yu Qiren. This Yu Qiren has already cultivated to the 9th level of the core-shattering realm. He is called a quasi-demon king. His strength is terrifying. Even if the two of us joined forces, we were still not his match. We had no choice but to be captured. Core-shattering realm? Ling Xiao had heard that after the extreme core realm, there would be a transition to the divine body realm. It was the core-shattering realm. The inner core would slowly shatter and transform into energy that would enter the body, forging the body, tempering the body. Only then could one finally step into the divine body realm. Let's not talk about this embarrassing matter anymore. This grudge will be avenged sooner or later. Patriarch Scarlet Flame gritted his teeth and said, "Let's talk about you. Where did you go after leaving us? I feel that your strength has advanced by leaps and bounds." Azure Lotus Swordswoman was also very curious. "I went to Fengdu Devil Forest and snatched the Demon Emperor's demonic epiphyllum." Ling Xiao smiled and said, "With this thing I can reach the strength of the divine body realm for a period of time. If I want to save my sister, it will naturally be more convenient. As for my strength advancing by leaps and bounds, this is all thanks to the various tests in Fengdu Devil Forest." "Well done. Young Master is indeed worthy of being Master's grandson. This ability is truly admirable. I heard that there are also geniuses of the extreme core realm competing for the demonic epiphyllum this time. I didn't expect you to succeed." Patriarch Scarlet Flame said excitedly. Azure Lotus Swordswoman was also very surprised. Originally, they had already thought highly of Ling Xiao's talent, but now it seemed that they had still underestimated Ling Xiao a little. This was not just the most outstanding genius in the 4 regions and 9 worlds. In her opinion, even if Ling Xiao was placed in the Eternal Desert, he would definitely be the strongest genius. Perhaps they wanted to realize their hope of going to the Eternal Desert in this life. It really depended on Ling Xiao. Genius 1, second, remember this site address. Mobile version, reading website. Chapter 4192. By the way, when we came back, Yu Xiangtian appeared and asked us a strange question. Ancestor Scarlet Flame suddenly said, "He asked us if young Master was the illegitimate son of a powerhouse in the Golden City." "How did you answer?" Ling Xiao asked. "Hee. Although your big brother Scarlet Flame's brain is a bit slow, Qinglian is extremely smart. She realized in an instant that this might be your plan. Therefore, he gave an ambiguous answer." Ancestor Scarlet Flame chuckled. She said, "If you want to know, you can ask our Golden Emperor directly." This sentence blocked Yu Xiangtian's mouth. Yu Xiangtian seemed to be very afraid of the Golden Emperor, so he didn't ask again. Sister Qinglian answered very well. "There's nothing I can do about this. Because you've been captured, I have to make sure that they don't dare to act rashly against us. So I lied saying that I have a relationship with a powerhouse second only to the Golden Emperor in the Golden City. That Yu Xiangtian is really a suspicious person." Ling Xiao smiled and said, "But no matter how suspicious he is, he can only half believe and half doubt this kind of thing that can't be proven. As long as we don't do anything too excessive, he definitely won't do anything bad to us." "Actually, it's not a lie," Qinglian's swordswoman suddenly said. "Your grandfather, our master, used to have a position in the Golden City. It was the state preceptor. His status was extremely high. Even the Golden Sovereign had to be respectful to him. The current state preceptor was also promoted by your grandfather. He is also very grateful to your grandfather. So you don't have to lie." "I didn't know that my background was so big." Ling Xiao smiled bitterly. His grandfather really did a lot of things for him. He paved a lot of roads. For the time being, let's not use this background. I still want to put more pressure on myself. This way, I can devote myself to cultivation. "Of course, but young Master, what are you going to do next?" Qinglian, swordswoman, asked. "Let's get in touch with Sister Jiao Jiao first. I'm very confused now. Was she possessed? Or did she choose to change herself? Or maybe something else happened to her. No matter what, I have to help her. Thus, I plan to stay in the Yu family for a while longer. That Yu Xiangtian is also very welcoming, because I have the demonic epiphyllum on me, which is something that he is looking forward to obtaining. Ling Xiao said. That's the only way. Green Lotus, swordswoman, nodded. Based on the current situation, the Yu family's strength was greater than they had imagined. It was impossible to snatch it by force. He could only take it one step at a time. When are you going to see your sister? Green Lotus, swordswoman, asked again. Yu Kilian told me to go to the Yu clan's meeting hall tomorrow. Because of my special identity, I have the backing of the Golden City and the identity of Ling Jiao's younger brother. He even grasped the heavenly demon Dutchman's flower. The higher-ups of the Yu family all want to see me. Humph, I know very well what these people are up to. Ling Xiao said coldly. They just want to force you to hand over the heavenly demon Dutchman's flower. Or they might use Ling Jiao's name to ask for the demonic epiphyllum. You just have to hold on to one principle. That is, no matter what, the demonic epiphyllum can't be given away. That's enough. Green Lotus, swordswoman, suggested. I know, this demonic epiphyllum is a huge bargaining chip in my hand. This bargaining chip is more useful than any big backer or the identity of Ling Jiao's younger brother. Ling Xiao was actually the clearest in his heart. The demonic epiphyllum was his strongest trump card. It was a strategic, deterrent nuclear weapon. The Yu family wanted this thing, but they were afraid that he would use it. They would definitely not provoke him easily. This was his opportunity. "Oh, right, young master, are you interested in being a demon venerable?" Patriarch Scarlet Flame laughed. A demon venerable can still be a demon venerable? Ling Xiao was stunned. Of course not. After the demon venerable of the Fengdu Demon Kingdom was killed, there must be someone who wants to fill this vacancy, according to the rules of the heavenly demon ghost. When the demon venerable of a certain country dies, it will naturally be replaced by the martial artists of this country. But there is an interesting restriction here. The demon venerable candidate can't be older than 30 years old. His strength can't be weaker than a 9th-level divine core warrior. I'm old enough, but my cultivation base isn't enough. Ling Xiao said with a bitter smile, "Big brother Scarlet Flame, you know that I'm only a mid-7th-level divine core warrior. Besides, I'm not a martial artist of the Fengdu Demon Kingdom. I'm not qualified to participate. But Qi Niming is qualified. I just don't know if he can make it back in time." "You're right." Patriarch Scarlet Flame scratched his head embarrassedly. "I'm just stunned by young master's strength." Big brother Scarlet Flame, you're really good at praising people. Ling Xiao lightly shook his head and said, "All right, let's stop joking around. I'll deal with Sister Jiao, but I can't do it alone. Therefore, I'll have to trouble you two seniors to help me. Of course, before that, I'll have to treat your injuries. I guess the reason why Yu Xiangtian let you go is because he thinks you won't be able to recover in a short period of time. But too bad he doesn't know that I'm an alchemist, and a very powerful one at that. You guys just wait here. I'll go to the Fengdu City and get some herbs." Ling Xiao knew that although everything seemed calm on the surface, he had killed so many warriors from the Yu family. On the surface, the Yu family wouldn't do anything to him, but there would definitely be a lot of people who would try to trip him up behind his back. Therefore, he had to become stronger, and at the same time he had to help Patriarch Scarlet Flame and Azure Lotus, Swordswoman, recover their strength. They had to break through their original strength. Only then would it be safer. "Young master, the Fengdu City isn't safe. Why don't you let us follow you?" Azure Lotus, Swordswoman, said. "Don't worry, I have a way." Ling Xiao wasn't afraid of ordinary troubles. The main reason was because he had suppressed 10 giant devils in the Black Blood Pearl. 9 of them had reached the peak heavenly core realm. One of them had even reached the mid-extreme core realm. As long as he didn't run into any powerful enemies, Even if Yu Qiong came looking for trouble, he would be able to deal with them. After saying that, Ling Xiao turned around and left. When he arrived at the Fengdu city, Ling Xiao started searching the herb stores one by one. He didn't know if he could find the herbs he was looking for. All he could do was try his best. Those two were injured because of him. Also, after they recovered, they would be of great help to him. Too bad, although the number of herb stores in the Fengdu city wasn't any less than those in the Fighting Soul Sacred City. There were also plenty of herbs, but the herbs Ling Xiao needed were too rare. After searching for a long time, he still couldn't find anything. But he found something strange. There were actually a lot of alchemists in the Fengdu city. Others might not be able to tell, but he could tell at a glance. Because these alchemists all had a unique aura. Almost every one of them had 1 or 2 heavenly flames that were used to concoct pills. End of chapter. Chapter 40, 193. Ling Xiao carefully listened to the conversation of those alchemists. In the end, he inquired about a very important news. The Yu family was going to hold an alchemy convention, and the ultimate goal of this convention was to refine a medicinal pill that could allow people to safely pass through the pill-shattering process. It was called pill-shattering divine water. This thing's grade was extremely high because it was for martial artists at the peak stage of the pill realm cultivation. Therefore, the requirements for alchemists were also extremely high. The Yu family could not do it themselves, so they asked the entire Heavenly Fiend Ghost region for help. It was just that they used a more special method. It was this alchemy convention. Through this alchemy convention, recruiting powerful alchemists was also another goal of the Yu family. The refinement of the pill-shattering divine water was just the first stage. This Yu family's ambition was not small. Of course, the rewards of the alchemy convention were also very generous. Quickly go to the auction house. There are precious medicinal herbs for sale there. Suddenly, someone shouted. Ling Xiao suddenly came back to his senses. That's right, although he went to all the medicine shops, he just did not go to the auction house. Although the things in this auction house were messy, it was very likely that precious medicinal herbs would appear. Moreover, so many alchemists came to Fengdu City this time, it was hard to guarantee that no one would sell the precious materials they collected. If there really was, then he must get it at all costs. Ling Xiao, Ling Xiao. Just as he was about to move, he suddenly heard a familiar voice shouting. Ling Xiao turned his head to look and found that it was indeed a familiar person. Green clothes. The person was precisely the green-clothed woman of Lulua cult. Hello, Ling Xiao. Why are you still in Fengdu City? Aren't you afraid that the Yu family will find trouble with you? The green-clothed woman came over, clearly a little excited. I still have some things to deal with, so I can't go back for the time being. Ling Xiao explained. So that's how it is. The green-clothed woman nodded and did not ask in detail. She was very clear that she had done something to offend Ling Xiao in the past. So in talking to Ling Xiao, she was very careful, afraid that Ling Xiao would suddenly turn hostile. Actually, she was thinking too much. Ling Xiao would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. However, the green-clothed woman had performed very well in the Fengdu magic forest. Ling Xiao had long forgotten about this small misunderstanding. Why are you here? Ling Xiao asked casually. Of course, it's for the alchemy conference. You probably don't know, but our Lulua sect is actually famous for its alchemy. We're not really suited for battle. The woman in green said with a smile. I would like to ask, where can I register for this alchemy conference? Ling Xiao asked. If possible, Ling Xiao planned to participate. This would increase the number of trump cards in his hands. If he was a powerful alchemist, the Yu family would value him even more. He would have more opportunities to get close to Ling Jiaojiao. It's in the Yu family's Baoha Hall. This Baoha Hall is the largest alchemist club in Fengdu City. Not only will the registration be held there, the alchemy conference will also be held there. The woman in green answered every question. It seemed that she really wanted to have a good relationship with Ling Xiao. Baoha Hall? I'll definitely go take a look when I'm free. Ling Xiao made up his mind. Since it was an alchemist club, the chances of those alchemists having precious medicinal ingredients were very high. If he couldn't find them in the auction house, he could go there and try his luck. Where are you going now? I'm very familiar with Fengdu City. Why don't I lead the way for you? The woman in green suddenly said, just in time. Tell me, where is the largest auction house in Fengdu City? Ling Xiao asked. I'll take you there. The woman in green said straightforwardly, the largest auction house naturally belongs to the Yu family. It's called the Yu family auction house. It's not far from here. Without waiting for Ling Xiao to say anything, the woman in green pulled Ling Xiao's hand and walked forward. Ling Xiao was stunned for a moment, then retracted his hand. However, he did not reject the woman in green's good intentions. He was now in a hurry to find medicinal ingredients to help the Green Lotus Sword Maiden and the Scarlet Flame Ancestor get rid of their injuries. Even if he didn't want to owe the woman in green a favor, he had to now. We're here. It's here. Just as he was thinking, the woman in green's voice sounded again. Ling Xiao looked up. It was really a big building. Looking at the entire Fengdu city, the level of luxury here was really not inferior to the Yu family's headquarters. He ignored the guards who were staring at the coming and going crowd like hawks. Ling Xiao and the woman in green walked directly into the auction house. The guards did not stop them. It could be seen that they should have their own way of identifying danger. They would not casually stop people from entering the auction house. The Yu family auction house was similar to the auction houses that Ling Xiao had seen before. It just felt that the scale was larger. Moreover, the auction houses were divided into 4 grades according to heaven: earth, profound, and yellow. Warriors who had less than 1 million high-grade spirit stones were qualified to enter the yellow auction hall. Warriors who had 1 million to 10 million high-grade spirit stones were qualified to enter the profound auction hall. Warriors who had 10 million to 20 million high-grade spirit stones were qualified to enter the earth auction hall. Only when the capital exceeded 20 million would one be qualified to enter the heaven auction hall. Generally speaking, the yellow and profound auction halls were opened every day. The time of the earth and heaven auction halls was uncertain. Usually, the hall would only open when there were enough auction items. In terms of spirit stones, Ling Xiao was not worried. He had gained a lot from this trip to the Fengdu Demon Forest, although he had used up all 2,000 supreme-grade spirit stones. But the high-grade spirit stones on him were close to 100 million. It was very easy to enter the Heaven Auction Hall. It just so happened that there was an auction in the Heaven Auction Hall today. Ling Xiao walked straight over, who knew that he would be unlucky and meet a dog. Tisk, TSK, TSK. Isn't this lady in green? I heard that you hooked up with a gigolo. I thought it was just a rumor. I didn't expect that you would actually bring this gigolo today. The one who spoke was a warrior in his 50s. A man in his 50s could only be considered a young man in the 4 major regions. That was why his appearance was still very young. He looked like a young man in his early 20s. This guy probably didn't participate in the battle in the Fengdu Demon Forest because he was too old. So, he probably didn't know how scary Ling Xiao was. This person walked as if he wanted to stroll. His heels were light, and it was obvious that he didn't have enough energy. His face was also pale. He must have been addicted to wine and women, and his body had been hollowed out. His cultivation level wasn't bad, mid-earth core realm. If it was before, Ling Xiao might have been cautious. But now, Ling Xiao didn't even want to waste his time looking at this trash. Hearing this guy's humiliating words, the lady in green was obviously a bit angry. Her expression was filled with anger. Yu Ming, you better watch your mouth. Don't forget, I'm a heavenly core warrior. If you anger me, I won't let you go. The lady in green's voice was filled with a strong anger, especially in front of Ling Xiao. She didn't want to be humiliated by anyone. Genius 1, second, remember the site address. Mobile version, reading website. Chapter 4194. Ha 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 ha, you won't let me off? You'd better take care of your own matters first. I heard that you used to be Yuan Meng's woman. Yuan Meng died in Fengdu Devil Forest, and the Red Robe sect is looking for the murderer. Everyone says that you're stuck with that guy. You'll be found sooner or later, so you should take care of yourself first. You still won't let me off. Your Lulua sect can't afford to offend our Yu family. That guy called you Ming was very arrogant, and his words were getting worse and worse. I don't know how many times you've been F***ed by Yuan Meng. Does this pretty boy know? Hee, don't worry. I, Yu Ming, won't mind as long as you accompany me obediently. If the Red Robe sect comes, I'll help you block them. Yu Ming had been interested in the girl in green before, but at that time the Yu family wanted to rope in the Lulua sect, so he didn't dare to mess around. Now it was different. Even the people of the Lulua sect seemed to be against the girl in green. There were rumors everywhere that the girl in green helped outsiders deal with the people of the Lulua sect. So he wasn't afraid. Looking at the girl in green's provocative figure, he felt that his nose was about to bleed. Pa! The girl in green suddenly slapped him. Yu Ming was hit until he saw stars. He spun a few times on the spot and almost fell to the ground. Fortunately, there was someone to support him, so nothing unexpected happened. Bitch, you dare to hit me. Men, catch this woman for me. Yu Ming let out a hysterical scream. It was as if his life was being squeezed by someone else. Several guards in the auction house rushed over. These guards were quite strong. Seeing Yu Ming being bullied, they definitely wanted to help. When this group of guards came, they didn't ask anything and pounced on the girl in green and Ling Xiao. Who the hell did I offend? Ling Xiao shook his head helplessly. However, the girl in green led him here after all. He naturally had to help. And that idiot just now actually called him a pretty boy. Then he could only prove that he was a capable person. A group of mangy dogs get lost. In order not to cause a commotion in the Yu family, Ling Xiao tried his best not to be ruthless. He only released his true essence to send those guards flying. Then, his hammer-sized fist smashed towards Yu Ming. Brat, next time when you want to act tough, you better be careful. There are some people who you can't afford to offend. Ling Xiao was not as easy to talk to as the woman in green. He directly punched Yu Ming in the face. His facial features were all squeezed together. His head was deformed. Luckily, he was a divine core warrior. If not, his head would have been deformed and he would have died. This kid was considered lucky. He wouldn't die, but his injuries weren't light. Scram! I'm in a good mood today. I don't want to kill anyone. Ling Xiao kicked Yu Ming to the side, and then, under the dumbfounded expression of everyone, he continued to walk inside with the woman in green. Brat, remember this. Yu Ming climbed up from the ground. Although his head was deformed, his mouth could still speak. If you have the ability, don't leave Fengdu City. I'll definitely make you pay. Price. A vicious glint flashed across Ling Xiao's eyes, but in the end he restrained himself. He wanted to save Ling Jiao, so he couldn't cause too much trouble for now. Although he couldn't kill Yu Ming in public, he still remembered Yu Ming's face. With his transformation skills, no one would know it was him who killed someone behind their back. I'm sorry, it's all my fault. You better leave Fengdu City as soon as possible. That Yu Ming has a good father. Moreover, he was a very protective person. I'm guessing Yu Ming must have gone to complain. The woman in green hurriedly said, Don't worry, if he comes here, I'll have a way to deal with him. Let's get down to business. Ling Xiao said, Are you here to buy herbs? The woman in green asked. Yes, do you have a way? Ling Xiao asked curiously. How about this? I have a senior brother here. He's one of the higher-ups of the auction house. He has always taken good care of me. Furthermore, we are considered very close friends. There was a time when he almost died, and I had to carry him back to the sect. He will help me, the woman in green said. If that's the case, then it's better. I don't have to waste time participating in the auction. Ling Xiao nodded. Okay, I'll take you to him. The woman in green also wanted Ling Xiao to leave the auction house as soon as possible. That's why she used her relationship with him. This senior brother of the woman in green was really not bad, at least on the surface. After seeing the woman in green, he asked about her well-being and showed concern. "Senior brother, my friend wants to buy some herbs. I wonder if you can help?" The woman in green patiently listened to the other party's words and then said her request. "It's a small matter." The senior brother nodded and said, "Brother, what herbs do you need? Just say it. Although I'm not much in this auction house, this is still convenient." "Then I'll thank you in advance." Ling Xiao took out the list of herbs that he had already prepared and gave it to the senior brother of the woman in green. Originally, this senior brother was very confident, but after seeing the list, he suddenly felt a little embarrassed. He looked at Ling Xiao and said, "Brother, what do you want these herbs for?" "These herbs are extremely precious. I've only heard of some of them. I've never seen them before. It's to save someone. I hope you can help me. If you can't get all of them, I'll take as many as you have. I don't need a lot, just 2 of each. As for spirit stones, it's not a problem." Ling Xiao replied, "I can only get 6 kinds of herbs at most, but it requires a lot of spirit stones. Just these 6 kinds will cost at least 5 million upper-grade spirit stones. These are the cheapest 6 kinds of herbs you need." The senior brother of the woman in green frowned. At the end of the day, this was definitely a valuable medicinal ingredient. He was still worried that Ling Xiao couldn't take out the money. "As I said, spirit stones are not a problem. I can transfer you 1 million upper-grade deposit now. You help me find the herbs. If you find them, you'll pay in full. If you can't find them, you can take 10,000 as a labor fee." Ling Xiao knew very well that the face of the woman in green was definitely not enough. He had to give her some benefits. 10,000 spirit stones was just a drizzle for him. It was nothing at all. "Well, since you're so straightforward, I can't refuse." "Well, you wait here. I'll go find the herbs. I'll be back in half an hour. I'll have to trouble you then." When the senior brother of the woman in green left, he made tea for Ling Xiao. He took good care of him. Ling Xiao calculated in his heart. This time he didn't come in vain. He found 6 kinds of herbs that he couldn't find in the medicine shop. It was a big harvest. After getting these 6 kinds of herbs, it was time to go to Baohahal. The rest of the herbs could be found there. End of this chapter. Chapter 4195. After nearly an hour, the woman in green's senior brother finally arrived. There seemed to be a bit of anger on his face. He looked at Ling Xiao coldly. His attitude was completely different from before. "Where's the medicine?" Ling Xiao didn't care and just asked indifferently, "Medicine? You still have the face to say that? Green, how can you be with this kind of person? Don't you know that he hit Yu Ming? I was scolded by the shopkeeper." The woman in green's senior brother glared at Ling Xiao and then said to the woman in green. The woman in green hurriedly explained, "Senior brother, that Yu Ming humiliated me, so he attacked." "Yu Ming humiliated you? That's because he thinks highly of you. Don't you know that the Fengdu Devil Kingdom is now the world of the Yu family? If you can become Yu Ming's woman, it will be a good thing for our Lulua sect." The senior brother said contemptuously. It was like a bolt from the blue. The woman in green had never thought that the person she had once saved would actually say such words to her. She was too disappointed. "You, how can you say that?" The woman in green was so angry that her body couldn't help but tremble. "What's wrong with me saying that? This is also for your own good. All right, the shopkeeper will be here soon. Later, you can just say that you don't know this kid. This way, I can still protect you. Otherwise, if you annoy the shopkeeper, no one can save you. You're shameless." The woman in green didn't seem to be a person who would scold people. After thinking for a long time, she said such a sentence. "He's more than shameless, he's simply scum." Ling Xiao looked coldly at the woman in green senior brother and said, "All right, since the matter didn't succeed, return the 1 million low-grade spirit stones to me." "Return the spirit stones to you? What a joke!" Go out and ask around. Is there any possibility of taking out the spirit stones that our Yu family auction house collected? The senior brother was very arrogant. Spirit stones are more important than your life? Ling Xiao said indifferently. What? You dare to fight in the Yu family auction house? It's hopeless. Ling Xiao gently shook his head. Suddenly, his right hand shot out like a viper and grabbed the green-robed woman's, senior brother. Then he snatched the storage ring from the other party. Then he threw the man to the ground and stepped on him. Not bad. There's still a lot of spirit stones in this storage ring. It's mine. Ling Xiao checked the storage ring and found that there were at least 5 million high-grade spirit stones. 1 million of it was his own, and the other 500,000 was this dog's. It also belonged to him. Although he said that he wanted to keep a low profile in Necropolis, it was impossible for him to swallow his anger. On the contrary, the more arrogant he appeared, the more jealous Yu Xiangtian became. As long as he didn't cross the line and let Yu Xiangtian fight him to the death, he could do anything. A mere scum from the Green Vine sect. Even if he killed him, Yu Xiangtian probably wouldn't ask about it. Give me back my storage ring, or you're done for. The senior brother of the woman in green roared. Finished? Let me see how I'm going to be finished. Ling Xiao kicked the man to the corner of the room. The sound of bones breaking could be heard. It seemed like many of his bones were broken. Ling Xiao was too lazy to pay any attention to this guy. He looked at the green-robed woman and asked, Who is the shopkeeper of the Yu clan's auction house? Yu Ming's father, Yu Haoyan. He is a perfect, heavenly core warrior, and he is a mighty warrior from the older generation. I think his ability is even stronger than Yu Feng and Yu Luan. The green-robed woman answered. I don't care who he is. I'm going to get this herb today. If he doesn't give it to me, Daddy will take it from him. Ling Xiao said with a ferocious expression. Since he had paid for it and the shopkeeper didn't want it, he couldn't be blamed for taking it by force. Who is so daring? How dare he take something from the Yu clan's auction house? I, Yu Haoyan, really want to see who it is today. Who is the guy who injured my son? Suddenly, a cold snort came from outside the door. A cold killing intent was unleashed without any disguise. Ling Xiao raised his head and looked over. He saw a few men walking in from the door. The one leading the group was a middle-aged man wearing luxurious clothes. Although he looked like a middle-aged man, he was probably in his 70s or 80s. His cultivation base was only at the perfect, heavenly core realm. His talent wasn't outstanding at all. The man following behind him was Yu Ming. There were also a few other warriors with decent strength. They should be guards or something. You are the shopkeeper here, Yu Haoyan? Ling Xiao looked at the middle-aged man and asked. He didn't pay any attention to Yu Ming. Dad, this is the guy who injured me. When Yu Ming saw Ling Xiao, he immediately shouted out loudly. Kid, you injured my son, and now you dare to hurt the staff of the Yu clan's auction house? How many heads do you have? Yu Haotian looked at the guy who was cowering in the corner. It was obvious that he had been crippled. His expression became even gloomier. I don't care how many heads I have. What's important is that you go and bring me the herbs I want. I'll give you half an hour. If you don't, you and your son will be crippled. Ling Xiao sat there and said calmly. He didn't care about Yu Haoyan's pale face. His tone was cold and unquestionable. What arrogance! My father is the shopkeeper here, and he has a very high status in the Yu family. Who do you think you are? Yu Ming roared. Huh. Ling Xiao smiled lightly, but he didn't do anything. He just gently drew an incantation in the air. Suddenly, a strange fluctuation came from the air. After that, a huge body came out from the air. The crowd had yet to see clearly what it was. That thing had already pounced towards Yu Ming. Yu Ming's face instantly turned pale. Yu Haoyan was also shocked. He quickly circulated his true yuan and stood in front of his son. He used all his true yuan to defend himself, but he was still in a hurry. In the end, he was hit by a huge figure. Yu Haotian felt like he was being stepped on by an elephant. All the bones in his body were about to shatter. Blood poured out from his mouth. At that moment, he had almost lost consciousness. He was sent flying, and he crashed into Yu Ming's body. Both of them then slammed into the wall. Yu Ming's body was smashed into pieces, but luckily his inner core was still intact. But if he wasn't treated in time, he wouldn't be able to escape death. Yu Haotian was indeed a peak heavenly core warrior. Although he was seriously injured, he wasn't dead. He just stared at the huge figure in front of him with fear. Giant Devil. That's right. Ling Xiao had controlled the Giant Devil. He had just unleashed a peak heavenly core Giant Devil. The Giant Devil's body was extremely strong. Although its cultivation was the same as Yu Haotian, its combat strength was much stronger, and it was a sudden attack, so Yu Haotian was no match for it. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and prepare the ingredients. If I don't see what I want in half an hour, then you will all die. Ling Xiao's cold voice sounded out. He ordered the Giant Devil to capture Yu Haotian. Genius 1, second, remember the site address. Mobile version, reading website. Chapter 4196. Yu Haotian was severely injured, and there was no way he could escape. He quickly shouted, "What are you all standing there for? Hurry up and find the herbs. Also, bring young master's core with you. Go now." Yes, yes. The guards were so scared that they almost pissed their pants. They ran away in a panic. Even a peak heavenly core shopkeeper had fallen into someone else's hands. These guards were so scared that their souls had left their bodies. They had to hurry up and do what they were told. When the lady in green saw this, she couldn't help but open her mouth. She couldn't believe what had just happened. She had seen giant devils before. They were war machines created by the human demons. But the strongest giant devil should only have the combat strength of an early heavenly core warrior. Why did Ling Xiao's giant devil have the strength of a peak heavenly core warrior? No wonder Ling Xiao wasn't afraid when facing Yu Haotian. With such a powerful warrior by his side, why would he be afraid? This guy, he was getting more and more mysterious. Who was he? Where did he come from? How many trump cards did he have? The lady in green suddenly felt that she had made the wisest decision in the past. If not, she would have been in big trouble today. In less than 10 minutes, those guards who had just run out ran back. They quickly and carefully placed the wrapped herbs on the table. They asked Ling Xiao to inspect them. Yu Haotian begged, young hero, my men have brought all the herbs for you. Please let me go." Ling Xiao inspected the herbs. There was no problem with them. Not only was the quantity enough, the quality was good as well. It looked like in order to protect Yu Haotian, these guards had risked their lives. "Do I need to pay for these?" Ling Xiao asked with a smile on his face. No, how could I take your money? Don't worry, I'm willing to give these to you." Yu Haotian was really a coward. Ling Xiao had only shown a little bit of his strength, and he was already scared out of his wits. "That's more like it, get lost." Ling Xiao recalled the giant devil. Yu Haotian rolled and crawled away. When they were far away, Yu Haotian slapped the guard's face and said, "What are you idiots doing? Didn't I tell you to go to the Yu family to get reinforcements?" "Shopkeeper, we've already gone, but there's a message from the other side." "Serves him right." The guard smiled bitterly. "Who did you say deserved it?" "It wasn't me who said it. It was young Master Eccentric." The guard hurriedly explained. "Could it be that there's really someone behind that kid?" Yu Haotian didn't dare to disobey Yu Kilian's orders. This also showed that Ling Xiao's background was not simple. Luckily, he held back and didn't kill Ming. Otherwise, I really don't know how to take revenge. Yu Haotian was absent-minded for a moment. Today's matter was really too dangerous. She had almost lost the lives of herself and her son. On the other side, Ling Xiao and the lady in green had already left the Yu's auction house after receiving the medicinal herbs. The purpose of coming here was to buy medicinal herbs. Since the medicinal herbs were already obtained, There was no need to participate in the auction. But just as they arrived outside the Yu's auction house, Ling Xiao suddenly saw Yu Qilian walking over nervously. He didn't even bring any guards with him. It was obvious that there was something urgent. Ling Xiao, among the medicinal herbs you need, the most precious one is called 9-spirit demonic snake gallbladder. I remember that Yu Qilian has one. The lady in green suddenly said, "Why didn't you say so earlier?" Ling Xiao knew very well that among the 10 medicinal herbs he needed, the most precious one was the 9-spirit demonic snake gallbladder. With this thing he was halfway to success, but this thing was very difficult to find. Although he didn't know where Yu Qilian got it, but there should be some hope. "Young master, how are you? What are you doing in such a hurry?" Ling Xiao directly blocked Yu Qilian's path and asked, "Something happened to your sister. The evil poison in her body is causing trouble. I'm going to the Baoha Hall to see if there's anyone who can treat her." Yu Qilian finished speaking and left, not willing to stay a moment longer. Something happened to Sister Jiao Jiao? Hearing this, Ling Xiao immediately became anxious. He originally planned to go to the Baoha Hall, but he had to change his mind at the last minute. The meeting with Ling Jiao Jiao couldn't be delayed any longer. He had to see her today. He said a yawn to the lady in green and then flew into the air. Turning into a red light, he flew towards the Yu family. If something happened to Ling Jiao Jiao, then in the entire Fengdu city, only he could save Ling Jiao Jiao. If not him, then who? When he arrived at the Yu family, he first went back to his residence and called Qiao. "Are over. Take me to Sister Jiao Jiao." "Young master said that the demon son situation is not good. The date of your meeting has to be postponed, not brought forward." "Qiao," said in a trembling voice. After being beaten up before, Qiao had learned to be more obedient in front of Ling Xiao. "What if I say that I can cure the demon son?" Ling Xiao said coldly. "Then there's no problem, right?" "This, okay." Qiao hesitated for a moment, then led the way. Because Yu Qilian said that as long as there was a way to save the demon son, they had to use it. Regardless of whether Ling Xiao was telling the truth or not, they had to give it a try. Otherwise, if she really delayed something important, she couldn't bear the responsibility. What happened to the demon son? On the way, Ling Xiao asked. "Qiao," said as they hurried. Actually, the demon son was attacked by a villain, although he killed that villain. But before that person died, he poisoned the demon son with a terrifying evil poison. This kind of evil poison is even more terrifying than a curse. Although it won't kill people immediately, it will continue to torture the martial artist. The demon son is very distressed because of this. Although the Yu family has been looking for a way to deal with it, until now, we haven't been able to find a real solution. I see, but what kind of evil poison is it that is so terrifying? Ling Xiao thought in his heart that it was fortunate that he was a pharmacist, and that his master was an even more powerful pharmacist. Otherwise, this time he was afraid that he would have to watch his sister, Ling Jiao Jiao, suffer. But there was nothing he could do. "I'm not sure about this, but it's very powerful," Qiao said. Ling Xiao didn't ask any more. After all, Qiao was just a maid, and the things she knew were limited. It was better for him to check it himself. Soon, the two arrived at Ling Jiao Jiao's residence. Yu Xiangtian, who was planning to go into seclusion, was also there. It could be seen that Ling Jiao Jiao was very important in their eyes. There were a lot of people outside. They were all pharmacists. Many of these people had already gone in and tried, but the more that went in, the more that came out. One by one they went in excitedly, thinking that they could make a contribution. In the end, they came out with their heads drooped. As the number of people decreased, Yu Xiangtian's expression became more and more ugly. "Demon King, why don't you let me try?" At this moment, Ling Xiao walked forward and said, "You, why are you here?" Yu Xiangtian glanced at Qiao, seeming to blame her. "Don't blame her, since my sister has something to do. As her younger brother, I'm duty-bound," Ling Xiao said in a clear voice. Genius 1, second, remember this site address. Mobile version, reading website. Chapter 4197. I know you care about your sister, but the problem is, can you treat the evil poison in her body? We have invited many famous doctors, but none of them can cure her. Yu Xiangtian frowned. Didn't anyone make any suggestions? Ling Xiao asked with a frown. There is one. The leader of the Lulua cult is the most powerful alchemist in the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. Although he has no way to get rid of this evil poison, he explained the reason for its existence. This evil poison is actually a kind of germ with self-consciousness. If you want to get rid of this germ, you need to have a very powerful soul force. You also need to know medical skills. Strange flames are not enough. You need to have an immortal fire. Of course, the most important point. This kind of germ is very corrosive to ordinary true essence. So the healer also needs to have a powerful, demonic true essence. Yu Xiangtian sighed, hearing Yu Xiangtian's words. Ling Xiao felt more confident. He was worried that he would need some precious herbs, but for the current him, it would not be easy to get them. But if it was just soul force, immortal fire, and demonic true essence, he had all of them, and they were all very powerful. If immortal fire was not enough, he still had divine fire. Although it could not be used to attack the enemy directly, it could be used to treat illnesses and save people. Let me try. Ling Xiao said, You have to think carefully. If even the leader of the Lulua cult can't do it, I'm afraid it will be very difficult. If you are not careful, you may harm the devil's son. Yu Xiangtian reminded. Demon King Xiangtian, you should not be such an indecisive person. You have to understand that, at this time, if you are still indecisive, in the end, the one who will die will be the devil's son, my sister. You don't think I will harm my sister, do you? Ling Xiao said with a frown. Yu Xiangtian was stunned for a moment. Seeing Ling Xiao so confident, he was a little tempted. Gritting his teeth, he nodded and said, Forget it. The devil's son situation is not good. We have already used all the methods that should be used. None of them worked. Since you have this confidence, then you can try. Don't worry. If I don't have any confidence, I won't dare to act rashly. I'm also afraid that I will harm Big Sister. Ling Xiao nodded. Yu Xiangtian led Ling Xiao into the room. With Ling Xiao's Tai Chi eye, he could clearly see the defenses around the room. There were almost no blind spots. Even if an ant crawled over, it would definitely be discovered. He didn't know if this was because they valued the devil's son or because they were closely monitoring him. There were many people in the room. They should be the higher-ups of the Yu family. This was because ordinary warriors were not qualified to step into the demon son's residence. The moment he stepped into the room, everyone's whispers stopped abruptly. All eyes were focused on Zhang Xian. When they saw Yu Xiangtian, they all bowed respectfully. But when they saw Ling Xiao next to Yu Xiangtian, they all showed a puzzled expression. With their divine sense, they could sense that Ling Xiao was less than 20 years old. He was so young. Among the youths of the 4 major regions, he was considered young. After all, the youths of the 4 major regions referred to warriors under the age of 50. There was a bed in the room. The curtain on the bed was lowered, and one could vaguely see Ling Jiaojiao sleeping inside in great pain. Seeing that face, Ling Xiao was a little excited. It had been a long time. Finally, he saw his closest sister after reincarnating. There were a few doctors near the bed. They should be people from the Lulua sect. These people were all quite old. It was normal for them to be over 100 years old. Therefore, Ling Xiao's appearance surprised them. Demon King Xiangtian, this is? An old man sat next to the bed, discussing with the other doctors how to deal with the situation. It was the leader of the Lulua sect. Ling Xiao had also seen him in the Fengdu demon forest. It was just that this leader was a demon king level existence. He definitely wouldn't put Ling Xiao in his eyes. It was normal that he couldn't recognize him. He is the demon son's younger brother, and he is also a doctor. Yu Xiangtian said, Doctor? The Lulua sect leader was stunned for a moment. Then he smiled and said, Demon King Xiangtian, are you desperate? This is still a child. The demon son's body is priceless. If something happens to him, it will be too late for regrets. Yu Xiangtian sighed, not knowing what to say. Although he was powerful, he was completely clueless in terms of medical skills. Ling Xiao smiled and said, "If Senior can save the demon son, I naturally wouldn't dare to embarrass myself. But I wonder if Senior succeeded?" His words were full of mockery. The Lulua sect leader's mouth twitched. But it was true that he couldn't save the demon son. Since Senior didn't succeed, why not let Junior try? The demon son is Junior's sister. Why would Junior harm her? Or is Senior worried that Junior will make you lose face if Junior cures the demon son? Ling Xiao continued. The Lulua sect leader was originally resolutely against it, but Ling Xiao had already said so. What else could he say? If he objected again, then Ling Xiao would really hit the nail on the head. If something really happened to the demon son, he couldn't bear the responsibility. Although he was a demon king, he had to admit that Ling Xiao, this boy, had a sharp tongue. What an arrogant boy. Although you said so, you have to have a reason to convince us. Otherwise, just based on you saying that you're the demon son's younger brother, we'll let you treat him carelessly. If something really happens, even dying 10,000 times won't be enough to compensate. The one speaking was an old man from the Yu family. Ling Xiao didn't know him. But although this person's attitude wasn't very good, his request was reasonable. Thinking about it in his shoes, Ling Xiao would do the same too. May I ask this, Senior, what's the most important thing to expel the demon son's poison? Ling Xiao answered with a question. Naturally, it's immortal fire, but immortal fire is incomparably precious. Even the Lulua sect leader only has a powerful strange fire. No immortal fire. It's precisely because of this that we have to consider other methods. We absolutely can't let the demon's son leave like this. The old man said. Ling Xiao didn't say anything. He just stretched out his right hand. All of a sudden, the entire room became hot. Everyone felt a terrifying heat flow rushing towards them. Originally, many people in the room looked at Ling Xiao with disdain and ridicule. The Lulua sect leader was just waiting to see Ling Xiao make a fool of himself. But at this moment they were all shocked. They stared dumbfoundedly at the holy flame in Ling Xiao's right hand. This temperature was definitely not something that a strange fire could reach. This aura definitely didn't belong to a strange fire. It clearly looked like a small flame, but the aura it released could make people feel as if they were about to be melted. Seeing this flame, Yu Xiangtian went from shock to ecstasy. What a powerful guy! Not only did he obtain the demonic epiphyllum, but he also controlled an immortal fire, as expected of the illegitimate son of the Golden City. This talent, even my son, Yu Qiren, can't compare to him. Genius 1, second, remember the site address. Mobile version, reading website. Chapter 4198. I'm sure I don't need to say much. You should know what this is, right? Ling Xiao smiled at the Lulua cult leader who mocked him just now. That pure white flame turned into a human face, mocking the other party. Ling Xiao was showing off his control skills, although he couldn't use the immortal flame to fight with his current strength. His control over the immortal flame was extremely powerful when used to refine pills or save people. Immortal flame. It's actually an immortal flame. I've searched the entire Heavenly Fiend Ghost region, but I've never seen an immortal flame. You actually have one. The Lulua cult leader felt his breathing quicken. Give me the immortal flame. I'll personally treat the fiend's son. The Lulua cult leader suddenly said, Give it to you? Are you sure? Ling Xiao smiled. Of course I'm sure. The Lulua cult leader thought of himself as a divine physique echelon expert. If Ling Xiao could control the immortal flame, he should be able to as well. So he said. Yu Xiangtian felt a bit awkward, but in his heart he also hoped that the Lulua cult leader would be the one to treat him. So he didn't say anything. Ling Xiao smiled and didn't refuse. Instead, he walked towards the Lulua cult leader. He offered the immortal flame with both hands. "Kid, you have a bright future. You're so obedient." The Lulua cult leader was immensely proud. He couldn't expect to return what he borrowed. With this immortal flame, his cultivation would increase even faster, and his alchemy skills would also become more powerful. In the future, his status in the Fengdu Devil Kingdom would naturally rise. Ah! Suddenly, the Lulua cult leader let out a hysterical scream. His hands were instantly charred black when he caught the immortal flame. He instantly turned into ashes. The flame continued to spread, crazily devouring the Lulua cult leader's body. This was the terrifying part of the immortal flame. Fortunately, Ling Xiao couldn't use it in battle. Otherwise, even a divine physique echelon expert wouldn't dare to act rashly in front of him. "Hurry up and retract your ability." The leader of the Green Vine cult howled in terror. Ling Xiao smiled. With a wave of his hand, the immortal flame returned to his hand. In truth, he knew that it wasn't very realistic for the immortal fire to burn the leader of the Azure Vine cult to death. If the other party really got angry, Ling Jiaojiao would also be in danger. He was just teasing this fellow for a bit. There was no need to be too persistent. "Brett, you plotted against me. I'll kill you." The leader of the Green Vine cult roared as he charged towards Ling Xiao. But she was stopped by Yu Xiangtian. "Everyone saw it just now. You were the one who asked to take the immortal flame. He didn't do it on purpose." Yu Xiangtian said coldly, "In any case, you're still a senior. It's just a small injury. Is there a need to be so furious?" What he hated was that the leader of the Green Vine cult had disregarded the fiend's son's life and death and wanted to kill Ling Xiao. What an idiot. "Can I start the treatment now?" Ling Xiao said indifferently. "Of course." Yu Xiangtian nodded. He believed that a person who possessed the immortal fire and the demonic epiphyllum would definitely have a way to help the fiend's son. Ling Xiao nodded, opened the curtain, and walked in. How could it be so serious? And this doesn't look like she was plotted against at all. It's more like there's another soul wreaking havoc in Sister Jiao Jiao's body. Ling Xiao carefully observed for a while and was incomparably shocked. Fortunately, he came in time. Otherwise, if this continued, Ling Jiao Jiao would definitely not live for more than a year. "How is it? Can you treat her?" Outside, Yu Xiangtian asked. "The situation is very serious. If she doesn't receive treatment soon, I'm afraid her life will be in danger." "How did you guys protect her? How did you let her suffer so much?" Ling Xiao sighed helplessly. "It's a long story, but from what you said, it seems that there's hope of treatment?" Yu Xiangtian asked. "She's my sister. Even if I have to risk my life, I have to save her. However, I need a few medicinal herbs. Help me gather them." Ling Xiao took out a piece of paper. It was the medicinal herbs he had been looking for previously. He could take the opportunity to plunder them. "Immediately go and find these medicinal herbs." Yu Xiangtian passed the paper to the people below. Then he ordered the idle people in the room to leave. Only he and the Lulua cult leader were left. This way, if there were any unforeseen events, they could deal with it in time. At this moment, Ling Jiaojiao's eyes were tightly closed and her face was ashen. Her forehead was covered in cold sweat. She was obviously in pain and unconscious. Ling Xiao released the immortal fire and then used his soul force to control it. At the same time, he released the demonic epiphyllum's aura, wrapped his soul force, and entered Ling Jiaojiao's body. In the next moment, he saw a strange world. This should be Ling Jiaojiao's soul realm. In the soul realm, there were actually two types of power entangling and fighting each other. He was very familiar with one of them. It was Ling Jiaojiao, but it was relatively weak. On the other side, there was a very unfamiliar but very evil power. It was this power that made Ling Jiaojiao suffer unbearable pain. "Sister Jiaojiao," Ling Xiao called out softly. On the other side, the soul that looked exactly like Ling Jiaojiao suddenly trembled, but it suddenly attacked fiercely. "You want to use my brother to confuse me? Don't even think about it. I will definitely not give in. It wasn't easy for this body to become like this. I would rather destroy her than be stolen by you. Ling Xiao easily dodged Ling Jiao's attack. But in his heart, he suddenly seemed to understand something. It turned out that the so-called germs that made Ling Jiao so uncomfortable that she was about to die was actually Ling Jiao's own soul. And the soul that was trying to survive was the real outsider, the invader. Sister Jiao, calm down. I'm Ling Xiao. I've come to the heavenly devil, ghost domain, to save you, Ling Xiao said while dodging. Ling Jiao naturally didn't believe him and still attacked. At this moment, the powerful and eerie energy pounced down and laughed. I didn't expect those fellows from the Luluos sect to really find something like the immortal fire. This is good. Hurry up and incinerate this crazy woman's soul. That way, this body will be this sovereign's. Ling Xiao understood the current situation more and more. This powerful and eerie soul was the existence that was trying to possess Ling Jiao. And Ling Jiao had been working hard to prevent herself from being possessed. Those bastards from the Yu family made up lies and said that they wanted to save Ling Jiao. In fact, they wanted to completely destroy Ling Jiao's soul. It was too vicious. Get lost. A ball of immortal fire formed a huge wall of flame, blocking the powerful and eerie soul from pouncing over. Fortunately, the other party was just a soul, so it couldn't pose too much of a threat to him, and he could use the immortal fire to resist. You are really Ling Xiao. Ling Jiao was stunned for a moment and finally calmed down. She felt Ling Xiao's familiar and intimate aura. Sister Jiao, you finally recognized me. What's going on? Ling Xiao resisted the powerful and eerie soul attack. He asked. Although he had guessed some of it, it wasn't everything. End of this chapter. Chapter 4199. It's a long story. This soul is the dead demon Venerable soul. This guy tried to extend his life and took over my body. He sealed my soul away. However, this body is mine after all. I released the seal and was planning to perish together with him. Ling Jiao sighed and said, What a pity, my dear brother. You really came at the wrong time. I can't have a good drink with you outside. Sister Jiao, why are you so disappointed? Since I'm here, I definitely won't let this person take over your body. We still need to steal his power and make you stronger. After saying that, Ling Xiao activated the immortal fire and burned the demon Venerable soul. Ling Jiao helped from the side. The siblings worked together and burned the demon Venerable soul until it was in great pain. However, this was the demon Venerable's soul after all. It was still very stubborn. Ling Xiao used a full 3 hours and only refined less than 1% of his energy. Hateful brat, you actually joined hands with this girl to deal with this Venerable. Why are you doing this? If you help this Venerable can give you everything you want. The demon Venerable looked a bit panicked. After all, he was an outsider. Just suppressing Ling Jiao's soul was already very strenuous. Now that another Ling Xiao came, he was no match for him at all. The key was that Ling Xiao had the immortal fire and the demonic epiphyllum, which had a very strong deterrent effect on his soul. What do you think can buy the relationship between us siblings? Ling Xiao said with disdain. In this world, there is nothing that cannot be bought and sold, as long as there are enough benefits. If you are willing to help this Venerable can take you as a disciple and make you the successor of the demon Venerable of Fengdu Devil Kingdom. The soul shouted. Sorry, I don't care. Ling Xiao sneered. Brat, don't be too proud. If you have the ability, then leave your soul here forever. Otherwise, this Venerable will definitely kill this girl. The demon Venerable was a bit annoyed. Hee, do you think you still have that chance? Ling Xiao mocked. Do you know the effect of the array? Even if I can't stay here forever, I can set up a soul formation. Day and night, I will refine you. Sooner or later, you will disappear completely. This is what you get for trying to possess my sister. Disciple, just leave this guy to master. Master has already absorbed his soul energy. The strength of his soul would be restored to the level of a divine body echelon cultivator. In this way, if you need Master to help you in battle in the future, Master will help you. It will also become easier. Yuan Venerate spoke up. Then I'll have to trouble Master. I'll deal with those people outside. In fact, Ling Xiao was also having a headache. If he were to do it his way, Ling Jiaojiao's body might not be able to take it. Things would be much simpler with the help of a Yuan Venerate. Sister Jiaojiao, in a while, your soul will temporarily gain control of your body. However, it's best if you don't talk too much and don't show too much. Just pretend to be weak. This was to prevent those guys from noticing anything amiss. I believe that these people from the Yu family must know that you've been possessed. Ling Xiao told Ling Jiaojiao, "Don't worry, little brother. I've been out for a long time. This isn't a big deal." Ling Jiaojiao smiled. Meeting Ling Xiao in her despair might be another turning point in her life. This meant a lot to her. "Master, I'll leave Sister Jiaojiao to you. I'll come over every day." After saying that, Ling Xiao withdrew his soul but left the immortal fire to the Yuan Venerate. The Yuan Venerate was a powerhouse of the immortal court. Although his soul wasn't as strong as it used to be, he still knew how to control the immortal fire. "How is it, Ling Xiao?" Yu Xiangtian asked hurriedly when he saw Ling Xiao walk out from behind the curtain. "Don't worry, everything is going smoothly. However, the germs are too tyrannical and can't be resolved in a day or two. It will take at least 3 days." This was the time that the Yuan Venerate had told Ling Xiao. He trusted his master. That's good, that's good." Yu Xiangtian heaved a sigh of relief and asked, "Didn't you notice anything strange?" "What strange things?" Ling Xiao froze for a moment before asking. "Did my sister encounter other problems?" "Haha, no, nothing. It's good that you didn't notice anything. I was just worried." In fact, Yu Xiangtian was afraid that Ling Xiao would discover that Ling Jiaojiao had been possessed. How would he know? Ling Xiao didn't check for any germs at all. He knew that the demon venerate had deliberately set up the germs to fool outsiders. If the germs were removed, it would indirectly harm Ling Jiaojiao. Therefore, he immediately entered Ling Jiaojiao's spirit realm. Of course! How could he tell the Yu family about this so easily? He would let this group of idiots continue to believe that Ling Jiaojiao had been possessed. "Ling Xiao, as long as you can cure the demon venerate, the Yu family will provide you with anything you want," Yu Xiangtian said excitedly. Ling Jiaojiao's situation really gave him a headache. "What are you talking about? That's my sister. Of course I have to help." Ling Xiao waved his hand and said, "But if Demon King Xiangtian wants to give a reward, I won't refuse. If there was something to take, it would be a waste not to take it. By the way, we only found one of the herbs you wanted before. It was the 9-spirit devil, snake, gallbladder. The others were really hard to find." Yu Xiangtian smiled bitterly. "Aren't you preparing for some alchemy conference? Don't tell me there aren't any precious herbs in the prizes?" Ling Xiao asked curiously. "The prize of this alchemy conference is the secret recipe of broken pill, divine water. There are also some other rewards," Yu Xiangtian explained. "But since Brother Ling Xiao has such medical skills, why don't you sign up for this alchemy conference? Anyway, it won't delay the treatment. You can also exchange pointers with those alchemists. Maybe those alchemists will have these herbs in their hands." "That's true. Fortunately, these herbs only play a supporting role. When Sister Jiaojiao wakes up, the remaining poison will be removed. Otherwise, it would really be bad. Xiangtian Demon King, please stay. I'll go back first. As for the alchemy conference, I will consider it." Ling Xiao cupped his hands and turned to leave. Looking at Ling Xiao's back, Yu Xiangtian's expression suddenly became gloomy. "Boy, if you know the truth, will you vomit blood?" How sad. This Demon King Xiangtian never thought that Ling Xiao would be able to discover the secret in Ling Jiaojiao's body. After all, even the sect leader of Green Vine's sect did not discover the secret. Ling Xiao returned to his room. He still did not let Xiao follow him in. Young master, Green Lotus Sword Lady and Ancestor Scarlet Flame both revealed a look of joy when they saw Ling Xiao return. Good news! The medicinal herbs you need for healing have almost been gathered. I will go to the Baoha Hall later to communicate with those alchemists. Maybe I can get the last few medicinal herbs from them. Also, I saw my sister. Ling Xiao also said excitedly. Genius 1, second, remember the site address. Mobile version, reading website. Chapter 40, 200. Because he used an isolation array and added a layer of martial soul barrier, Ling Xiao was not afraid that his secret would be discovered by others. How is she? Green Lotus, swordswoman asked. The situation is not very good. Her body was indeed stolen by the dead demon Venerable. However, Sister Jiao Jiao has been resisting. Now I can help her. I estimate that I will be able to completely refine the soul and energy of the demon Venerable in about 3 to 4 days. Ling Xiao did not mention the Yuan Venerable, not because he did not believe Green Lotus swordswoman and Ancestor Scarlet Flame. He was afraid that it would be too troublesome to explain. Good, that's great. Green Lotus swordswoman and Ancestor Scarlet Flame naturally would not ask more. They were just happy for Ling Xiao. Suddenly, Ling Xiao felt that something was wrong with his body. He hurriedly sat cross-legged. He looked inside his body. He found a mass of black energy floating in his soul sea. This is the energy of the demon Venerable. Ling Xiao was stunned for a moment. Feeling the abundant energy, he could not help but smile. He did not expect to receive such benefits unexpectedly. It was impossible for Ling Jiao Jiao to completely absorb all the energy of the demon Venerable alone. This energy was obtained by him, and it happened to be a channel to distribute it. He closed his eyes and began to refine this energy. Without the control of the demon Venerable's soul, this energy couldn't withstand his powerful soul pressure at all. Soon, it scattered into streams and integrated into his meridians. It began to circulate gradually. After being tempered by the blood-colored lightning in his body, the impurities of the mixed demonic true essence were removed. It became the purest demonic true essence. This demonic power not only increased his true essence by a lot, but also increased his true essence by a lot. It also helped his potential to directly break through the limit of the extreme core realm. He had entered the core-shattering realm. In other words, his potential was now comparable to a core-shattering realm martial artist. In terms of endurance, he would not lose to any martial artist below the core-shattering realm. Not only that, this pure demonic true essence also increased the energy of his cultivation C by 30%. At his current cultivation level, it was not easy to increase the energy of his cultivation C each time. It is indeed the energy of the demon Venerable. Just this little bit can help me to have so many changes. Looks like this is really a blessing in disguise. Ling Xiao smiled. He was in a good mood. Young master seems to have become stronger again. Sword Maiden Blue Lotus was originally very nervous, but as she saw Ling Xiao's aura become stronger, she immediately let out a breath of relief. That's right. He can even become stronger by saving people. Looks like there's really nothing in this world that can stop him. Forefather Scarlet Flame said with a smile. Having such a reassuring young master was truly a joyous thing. Fundu City, on the busiest commercial street, there was a huge building. This was Baoha Hall. At the Yu family's alchemist guild, alchemists from all over the Fundu Devil Kingdom could live here, refine pills, exchange pointers, and research. The only thing they had to do was to complete the mission issued by Baoha Hall to refine some pills. Furthermore, these missions wouldn't be too complicated. Enjoying themselves here didn't consume spirit stones or money, but mission points. Therefore, many alchemists were willing to come. In any case, the Yu family provided all kinds of medicinal herbs and experimental materials. For those who were determined to become alchemists but were relatively poor, it was simply a blessing. Standing outside Baoha Hall, Ling Xiao couldn't help but feel a little emotional. The strength of the Yu family was really not without reason. To be able to own such a building, it could be seen that the higher-ups of the Yu family had a very long-term, strategic vision. Although it would be a large consumption to entertain so many alchemists, but the pills refined by the alchemists could continuously nurture the cultivators of the Yu family. This was the biggest reason why there were so many powerhouses in the Yu family. Big Brother Ling. The woman in green suddenly changed the way she addressed Ling Xiao. It was probably because of the incident at the Yu family's auction house. Are you here to sign up too? I'll go in and take a look first. Yu Xiangtian's words were a little ambiguous. I want to see what the rewards of this alchemy conference are. If it can move me, then I will naturally participate. Ling Xiao smiled. It will definitely satisfy you. The woman in green grabbed Ling Xiao's hand and walked inside. As soon as he stepped into Baoha Hall, he could smell the pill fragrance that couldn't be smelled outside. Just living in such an environment for a long period of time would probably make one's body strong and healthy. Big Brother Ling, this Baoha Hall is divided into 3 courtyards. The front courtyard is used for trading. Many alchemists come here to trade pills, herbs, and so on with others. It is very common. The woman in green pulled Ling Xiao inside. While introducing, Ling Xiao also found that the front courtyard of Baoha Hall was the most lively place. In the hubbub of voices, there was a feeling of a trading market. The middle courtyard is mainly the place where alchemists refine pills and learn from each other. The alchemy tools and various herbs there can be exchanged with task points. As long as you have the ability, you can get everything you want in Baoha Hall without spending money. The woman in green said excitedly, "What about the backyard?" Ling Xiao asked. "Actually, I haven't been to the backyard before. I heard that only some big shots are qualified to enter there. It's probably a very mysterious place, but Big Brother Ling, with your ability, you will definitely be able to enter." The woman in green trusted Ling Xiao very much. After all, the rumors of Ling Xiao saving the demon son had already spread throughout Fengdu City. I'd better go to the front courtyard first. Ling Xiao was indeed interested in the backyard, but he didn't want to go yet. Since the front courtyard was the trading area, it would be good to take a look. Maybe he could find some treasures. Okay, I want to take a look too. The woman in green accompanied Ling Xiao to wander around the front courtyard. This place was huge. There were many counters and even bunks. Ling Xiao found that there were many precious herbs on the bunks and counters here. Here, you can use spirit stones to buy things, and you can also use other things to exchange. It mainly depended on what the owner of the goods needed. Everything was decided by the owner of the goods. Ling Xiao really found the last few herbs he needed here. It was just that the prices were extraordinarily expensive. Fortunately, the owners of these herbs needed spirit stones. Therefore, he spent nearly 10 million high-grade spirit stones to gather the materials. Spirit stones came and went quickly. They could be used everywhere. But in order for the Green Lotus Sword Maiden and Patriarch Scarlet Flame to recover as soon as possible, he was absolutely willing to do so. After gathering the materials, Ling Xiao wasn't in a hurry to leave. There were so many good things in this trading market. It would be a pity to leave so soon. Anyway, refining pills wasn't something that could be done overnight, so he continued to wander around. If there were such good medicinal herbs, then there would definitely be some treasures that would appear. If he went back like this, he felt that he wouldn't be able to refine pills in peace. If something really went wrong, he wouldn't be able to take responsibility. End of this chapter. Chapter 4201. Louis, long time no see. While Ling Xiao was strolling around, he suddenly heard someone's voice. It sounded like someone the girl in green knew. Eldest senior disciple. The girl in green seemed to respect this eldest senior disciple, but when she saw him, she felt uneasy. "Are you going to participate in the alchemy competition as well?" The man asked with a smile on his face. "Yes, eldest senior disciple. To be able to compete with other alchemists is one of my dreams." The girl in green nodded her head and said, while speaking, she didn't even dare to raise her head, "And work hard." The eldest senior disciple smiled. Then he looked at Ling Xiao and said, "Lu-Yi, I've always warned you. You can't make friends casually. You're a heavenly core alchemist, walking together with a mid-earth core warrior. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at? Even if they don't laugh at you, you should think about it. You should also think carefully about whether these people have any ulterior motives for approaching you." Ling Xiao was looking at the goods on the stall. Hearing this, he couldn't help but furrow his brows. He didn't like to beat around the bush, so he went straight to the point and said, "Lu-Yi, is this idiot your eldest senior disciple? No wonder the Lu Luo sect is getting worse and worse. It's so bad that the Yu family has taken them in." "Brat, what did you just say?" When the eldest senior disciple heard this, he immediately became angry. The girl in green smiled bitterly as well. "Hee, didn't you hear me clearly? Or do you want to hear it again? I've traveled extensively, and I've met many people, but I've rarely met someone like you who likes to be scolded by others." Ling Xiao sneered and said, "I said you're an idiot. Do you understand now? You're courting death." The eldest senior disciple suddenly unleashed a powerful true yuan and was about to attack Ling Xiao. "Do you want to fight? This is the Baoha Hall. Do you dare to fight?" Ling Xiao sneered. "Lu Ling, forget it. The Baoha Hall is the Yu family's territory. It's not a good place to fight." The man who came with the eldest senior disciple quickly stopped her and said, "Humph, brat, do you dare leave your name?" Green Spirit suppressed his anger and said, "What's there to be afraid of? It's pretty good. Your grandfather's name is Ling Xiao." Ling Xiao said with a smile, "All right, remember that." Green Spirit said before turning around and leaving. He didn't dare to make a move in Baoha Hall, but he didn't believe that Ling Xiao could stay in Baoha Hall forever. "Idiot!" Ling Xiao scolded in disdain, and then quickly threw this unhappiness to the back of his mind. He continued his stroll. It wasn't until they had explored the entire front yard that they went to the backyard to register for the competition. The Yu family's alchemy conference was quite interesting. Of course, more importantly, he had the formula for the fragmented core divine water. This item was extremely important to Ling Xiao, so he had to obtain it. When he arrived at the backyard, LV Ling was chatting with the people of Baoha Hall. Accompanying him was Yu Luan from the Yu family. Seeing Ling Xiao was truly like seeing an enemy with blazing eyes. However, Ling Xiao was now the most popular person in the Yu family and was the key to saving the demon son. No matter how angry Yu Luan was, there was nothing she could do. However, LV Ling didn't understand and said to the shopkeeper of Baoha Hall, "This brat spoke rudely and insulted our Lulo sect. Shopkeeper, if you want to give us face, you shouldn't let him participate in this alchemy conference." "Young Master LV Ling, I'm afraid this is inappropriate." The shopkeeper smiled bitterly and said, "This is not in accordance with the rules." "Rules?" "Shopkeeper, if he participates, I'm not going to participate. You can do as you see fit. Don't forget that my master is the leader of Lulu's sect. He has an extremely good relationship with Demon King Xiangtian." LV Ling snorted coldly. "Then you might as well not participate." The shopkeeper shook his head and said, "What did you say?" LV Ling was stunned. He thought that the shopkeeper of Baoha Hall would definitely give him face if he threatened him like this. However, the other party actually said such words, making him completely embarrassed. "What do you mean?" "Young Master LV Ling, I'm afraid you don't know. This person is called Ling Xiao. He's the key to saving the demon son. Even Demon King Xiangtian has to treat him with respect. Even if you give me 100 guts, I wouldn't dare to not let him participate in the alchemy conference." The shopkeeper sighed. How could this be? In that instant, LV Ling's face flushed red. He had never been so embarrassed before. He had just been called a retard by Ling Xiao and didn't dare to make a move. Now he had dug his own grave. No matter how thick his face was, he couldn't take it. "Shopkeeper, I'm a very kind person. Young Master L.V. Ling is the eldest senior brother of Lulua's sect. It doesn't seem appropriate to not let him participate in the alchemy conference. I'll have to trouble you to register him. I'll take my leave first." Ling Xiao sneered in his heart. "You want to leave just like that after provoking me? No way. Wait until you participate in the exam. Then wait to be humiliated by me." "Young Hero Ling, don't worry. We'll definitely do as you say," the shopkeeper hurriedly agreed. "That's good." Ling Xiao nodded and then left with the green-clothed woman. The two parted ways outside the Baoha Hall. Ling Xiao returned to his residence in the Yu family and began to refine pills. The medicinal herbs to save the Green Lotus, Swordswoman, and Ancestor Scarlet Flame were all ready. The next step was to refine pills. After more than an hour of refining, 2 pills came out of the furnace. Originally, these pills were only meant to cure the Green Lotus, Swordswoman, and Ancestor Scarlet Flame. Who knew that the effect was much better than expected? The Green Lotus, Swordswoman, and Ancestor Scarlet Flame actually broke through. They directly broke through from the 7th level of the core-shattering realm, and they broke through consecutively. They reached the 9th level of the core-shattering realm. Although they were still inferior to Yu Killian, they were even inferior to the Demon King. But compared to most of the warriors in the Yu family, they were much stronger. After all, there were only a few people in the core-shattering realm in the Yu family. There were even fewer who had reached the 9th level of the core-shattering realm. "Thank you, young master, for helping us break through. We will never forget your kindness." After the 2 of them broke through, they directly knelt down to Ling Xiao. Ling Xiao hurriedly helped them up. "I've already said that we call each other brother and sister in private. You guys are clearly trying to make things difficult for me. Hurry up and get up." After the 2 of them got up, Ling Xiao reminded them, "Don't tell anyone about your recovery for the time being. I want to give the Yu family a surprise. From tomorrow onwards, I will help my sister refine the soul of the demon Venerable. At the same time, I will prepare for the alchemy conference. The alchemy conference will have a preliminary competition tomorrow. The official competition will be the day after tomorrow. Are you confident?" the Green Lotus Swordswoman asked. "Of course." Ling Xiao smiled and said, "In terms of martial arts, I don't dare to say that I'm very powerful. But when it comes to alchemy and formations, I don't think I will lose to anyone." The next day, Ling Xiao went to check on Ling Jiaojiao's situation first. Everything went very smoothly. After that, he went to the Baoha Hall. In the Fengdu Devil Kingdom, alchemists seemed to be divided into 9 grades, which was completely different from other places. According to the grades here, the woman in green was considered a 2nd-grade alchemist. End of this chapter. Chapter 4202. If you want to have a grade, you need to participate in the assessment. The assessment not only includes the ability to refine pills, but also one's own strength and basic knowledge of alchemy. Ling Xiao has never participated in this kind of assessment, so his alchemist grade is 0. When he stepped into the preliminary arena of Baoha Hall, those people he saw were basically at the same level as the woman in green. They were all 2nd-grade alchemists. However, there were also a few who were stronger than the woman in green. For example, that green spirit was actually a 4th-grade alchemist. There was also a young alchemist from the Blackwater Devil Kingdom, a woman called Yu Dan, who was also a 4th-grade alchemist. And this Yu Dan's master was the Devil Emperor. Her cultivation had already reached the extreme realm of alchemy. These 2 people should be considered seeded contestants. They will also become the 2 most likely to win the championship in this alchemy conference. Did you see that? That kid is said to be the one who can control the immortal fire. He is healing the devil son of the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. He doesn't look special. Can he really control the immortal fire? That's not too clear, but he was recommended by the Devil King Yu Xiangtian. He can't be too bad. An alchemist without a grade doesn't even have the courage to participate in the alchemist assessment. How powerful can he be? Listening to everyone's ridicule and discussion, the woman in green's face didn't look too good. What do you know? Ling Xiao is more powerful than all of you. At least you can't save the devil's son. He can do it. I really don't know what you have to be proud of. Oh, you're just a second-grade alchemist. And you dare to speak for others? You'd better take care of yourself first. Most of the alchemists here are third-grade alchemists. Could it be that the little girl's heart is rippling and she likes him? You're talking nonsense. Shameless. The woman in green blushed and scolded loudly. Whether we're shameless or not. It's not up to a little girl like you to say. The alchemy conference is not a game. Not everyone is qualified to participate. In my opinion, one of you is a second-grade alchemist, and the other has no grade. You should give up as soon as possible, especially you who has no grade. It's not easy to become a powerful alchemist. It won't be good if you expose yourself. So much nonsense, shut up. The preliminaries have begun. The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall didn't look too good. However, he didn't think that Ling Xiao would be able to pass this test. However, Ling Xiao was recommended by Yu Xiangtian after all. These people's unbridled ridicule made him very unhappy. Everyone shut their mouths. Seeing that everyone had shut up, the shopkeeper of Baohi Hall said, "The first round of the preliminaries, it is to test your basic knowledge of medicinal herbs. At that time, all of you will enter your own small independent space. There are a total of 20 kinds of medicinal herbs in this small space. You will only be left with your sense of smell, taste, and touch. Based on these three senses, he was able to determine the name of the medicine and its effects. The judgment time was 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, you have 10 minutes to recover your vision and write the answer on the paper. Do you understand?" As he spoke, the shopkeeper of Baoha Hall deliberately looked at everyone. At this moment, there were close to 100,000 people in the preliminaries. Most of them had worried expressions on their faces. Only a few people were still relaxed, and one of those people was Ling Xiao. This made the shopkeeper of Baoha Hall a little surprised. In this round, you can't use immortal fire at all, nor can you rely on soul force. What is he going to do? The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall was very curious. Well, now open the isolated space. Everyone go to your seats. As for what Ling Xiao was going to do, they had to wait and see the facts later. Therefore, the shopkeeper of Baoha Hall didn't say much nonsense. "Boy, letting me participate in this alchemy convention is definitely your stupidest decision. Don't make a fool of yourself later. I'll be waiting for you in the main competition." The one who spoke was LV Ling. LV Ling's seat was not far from Ling Xiao. "I think you should remember those words yourself. I am an alchemist with no grade. Even if I am eliminated, others will only think that it is normal. But you are different. You are a fourth-grade alchemist. If you are really eliminated, you will lose all your face." Ling Xiao sneered. "Humph, you are just relying on immortal fire. You can't use immortal fire in this round. Let's see how you are going to play." LV Ling gritted his teeth and said, "Who is he?" Suddenly a voice asked. LV Ling turned his head and saw that it was one of the descendants of the demon emperor, Yu Dan. "So, it is Miss Yu Dan, nice to meet you. This person is Ling Xiao. If you are interested, I can introduce you." LV Ling smiled. "Forget it. I am just curious why you are so interested in an alchemist with no grade. This time, you are the opponent I care about the most. Don't let me down." Yu Dan naturally had no interest in Ling Xiao. She was the disciple of the demon emperor. Ling Xiao, on the other hand, was a nobody. The difference in status between them was huge. "In order to defeat Miss Yu Dan, I will do my best." LV Ling was in a good mood. Being able to see Ling Xiao being despised and ignored, he was in a very good mood. One had to know that when he learned that Ling Xiao was an honored guest of the Yu family, he really seemed to have knocked over a jar of vinegar. He really didn't feel good in his heart. Buzz! A strange sound rang out, and a wave of energy appeared on everyone's seat. In that instant, Ling Xiao felt that other than his sense of smell, touch, and hearing, he had no other senses. However, this was not a problem for him. In terms of understanding of medicinal herbs, he believed that he was not inferior to anyone in the Fengdu Devil Kingdom, including the leader of the Luo cult. They might not be able to compare to him. Therefore, he did not open his Taiji. That would be too boring to cheat. This round of assessment is not easy. Now, many alchemists are only focused on finding powerful pill formulas, but they have neglected the most basic knowledge of medicinal herbs. I am afraid that many people will be eliminated. At some point, the leader of the Luo cult also arrived at the scene and smiled at the shopkeeper of the Baoha Hall. If these people don't even have the most basic ability to distinguish medicinal herbs, then they are not qualified to obtain the refining method of the fragmented pill, divine water. Naturally, they are not qualified to participate in the main competition. The shopkeeper of the Baoha Hall said, "But you don't have to worry. Green spirits should be very strong in this aspect. Of course, I have taught this kid a lot. His basic knowledge of medicinal herbs can be said to be perfect." The leader of the Luo cult said proudly, "By the way, what about that Ling Xiao?" He also went in. "This person's identity is very mysterious. I don't know how his basic knowledge of medicinal herbs is. However, that immortal fire is really powerful." The shopkeeper of the Baoha Hall sighed. That immortal fire must have been made for him by his master. This kind of person has always been spoiled. It's impossible for his basic knowledge to be solid. He definitely won't be able to pass. The leader of the Luo cult was a little narrow-minded. A dignified demon king actually held such a small grudge. If Ling Xiao passed, he would be angered to death. Please remember the domain name of this book. Let's all read it on mobile. Chapter 4203. In the quiet examination hall, countless balls of light surrounded the participants. The people outside didn't know what was happening inside, because they had to cut off the vision, divine sense, and other elements of the alchemists inside. The cultivators outside couldn't interfere. More than 10 minutes had passed. Yu Xiangtian and Yu Qiren also arrived. "Greetings, Demon King Xiangtian, young master." The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall hurriedly bowed. The leader of Luo cult also stood up and cupped his hands towards the two. "No one came out early yet?" Yu Xiangtian asked with a smile. The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall smiled and said, "This time because we are selecting elite alchemists. So this question is a bit difficult. Anyway, there's still 7 or 8 minutes. Let's see if anyone stands out. What we want is for the alchemists to identify as many herbs as possible in 20 minutes. Even if no one comes out early, it's actually normal. The alchemists all hope to identify as many herbs as possible. Brother Lulua, who do you think can get the best result in the preliminaries?" Yu Xiangtian looked at the leader of Lulua cult and asked, "Although I don't know most of them, but from the quality of these people, if someone can get a better result, then there are only 2 people." The leader of Lulua cult thought for a moment and said, "One is naturally the Demon Emperor's disciple, Yu Dan. The other is my personal disciple, Lulua. Brother Lulua is too modest. Although the Demon Emperor is powerful, alchemy isn't his strong point. He only knows a little. His disciple may be very powerful, but compared to Lulua, the gap should be quite big, right?" Yu Xiangtian laughed. The leader of Lulua cult didn't refute. It was obvious that he had this thought in his heart. He felt that his disciple was the most powerful of all. Yu Xiangtian smiled and sat down as well. His gaze was cast towards the small space where Ling Xiao was. Although he couldn't see the situation inside, he had some expectations for Ling Xiao. In his opinion, even if Ling Xiao wasn't as good as Yu Dan and Lulua, his results shouldn't be too bad. After all, he was a little guy who could control an immortal fire. His basic knowledge of medicinal herbs shouldn't be too different from others. "Brother, you seems to be looking forward to meeting that Ling Xiao?" The leader of the Green Vine cult had an unsightly expression on his face. He didn't like Ling Xiao, so if other people liked Ling Xiao, he couldn't accept it. What's more, Ling Xiao was an unranked alchemist without any systematic training and nurturing. Even if he knew a little about medicinal herbs, he wouldn't be too powerful. No, I'm just taking a look. Yu Xiangtian smiled. He did not refute because he himself did not have much confidence in Ling Xiao. He was just looking forward to it a little. Regardless of whether he admitted it or not, this Ling Xiao was already inextricably linked to their Yu family. If Ling Xiao's performance was too poor, their Yu family would definitely be ridiculed and attacked. Yu Xiangtian's response made it impossible for the leader of the Green Vine cult to continue living. However, in his heart, waves of worry began to rise. What if Ling Xiao really got good results? What should he do? That would be a little embarrassing for him. At this moment, two small spaces suddenly flickered at the same time. Then, two people walked out from inside. They attracted the attention of all the onlookers. It's really them. The leader of the Green Vine cult smiled slightly. The first two people to come out were LV Ling and Yu Dan. The two of them finished identifying almost at the same time. After identifying, they began to write down their answers. The identification and recording took a total of 30 minutes. If the identification ended earlier, they would have more time to record. Brother LV's judgment is quite accurate, as expected of an expert. Yu Xiangtian sighed. You're flattering me. Just being fast is meaningless. The main thing is whether the identification is correct. The leader of the Green Vine cult seemed very humble, but in fact his words were full of pride. Yu Xiangtian smiled and did not say anything else. It was not that he could not accept such an outcome. As long as Ling Xiao's performance was not too bad, it was fine. Another 3 minutes passed. In other words, 17 minutes had passed. The second batch of alchemists finished their identification. These alchemists were basically all grade 3 alchemists. After identifying, they immediately began to record the answers. At this moment, LV Ling and Yu Dan had finished recording. They handed their answers to the judge. Another 2 minutes passed. It was the last minute of identification. The woman in green and the other grade 2 alchemists finally finished their identification. However, Ling Xiao was still not done. Seeing this, Yu Xiangtian frowned. At this rate, Ling Xiao would not be able to finish his identification before the allotted time. He did not know what was going on. Was it really, as the leader of the Green Vine cult said, that his basic knowledge of medicinal herbs was too poor? The leader of the Green Vine cult was very happy. He was a little worried at first, but now he was completely relieved. To think that I was worried about that kid, afraid that he would slap me in the face. Now it seems that he's really not that good. He said with a smile, Demon King Xiangtian, Ling Xiao knows about immortal fire after all. It doesn't matter if his basic knowledge is lacking. On the surface, he was comforting, but why did it sound like sarcasm and sarcasm? This narrow-minded leader of the Green Vine cult. He was really too much. A dignified demon king was actually fussing with an Earth Core realm martial artist. Was he not afraid of losing face? Hee. Louis, that friend of yours seems to be quite good at talking. Other than that, he's completely useless. LV Ling looked at the woman in green and sneered. After all this time, he's actually worse than you. Look, basically 90% of the alchemists have finished their identification. He's actually not done yet. With this kind of ability, if it was me, I would definitely tuck my tail between my legs. I wouldn't be like him, showing off everywhere. The woman in green did not refute. Firstly, LV Ling was her senior. Secondly, she did not know what was going on. Ling Xiao's strength was not bad, but in terms of alchemy, she really did not know. LV Ling, that kid is just an Earth Core realm martial artist. Do you have to be so calculative with him? Yu Dan said disdainfully. Miss Yu Dan is right. It's just that that kid was disrespectful to me before, so I paid more attention to him. I thought that he would be a good opponent who knew that he would be trash. LV Ling laughed. While they were talking, the bell finally rang. All the participating alchemists were forcefully sent out of the small space. The moment they came out, Ling Xiao seemed to be a little confused. It was like, although the time had ended, his identification was not finished. This kind of expression easily made people think that his identification results were very bad. But was it really so? End of chapter. Chapter 4204. The person who came up with this question is really cunning. The identification of the last medicinal ingredient took almost 90% of my time. For the other medicinal ingredients, I only took a few minutes. A lot of time was spent on this last medicinal ingredient, and I don't know if I got it right. Ling Xiao didn't notice the expressions of the people around him. He was still immersed in his own assessment. If one didn't look at the last medicinal ingredient with their eyes, there were thousands of possibilities. No matter how good one's foundation in medicinal ingredients was, it was impossible to get it right. That question was too difficult. It seems that his performance isn't very good. The Lulua cult leader looked at Ling Xiao's expression and said with a smile. Yu Xiangtian didn't say anything. At this time, it was time to record the answers. At this stage, he thought that Ling Xiao's performance would be better, but who knew that Ling Xiao still got to the last minute. Only then did he hand in the answer sheet. This made him quite disappointed. That Ling Xiao is really bad. He doesn't look like an alchemist at all. He's more like a layman. But he's quite lucky. Whether it's identification or recording of the answers, he only finished at the last minute. Only those who don't understand would delay the time like this. Yu Dan said with a smile, He's a layman to begin with. I don't know how he got the ability to control the immortal fire. He thinks he's very good. For such a layman, it's best if he's eliminated in the preliminaries, so as not to waste everyone's time later. Lu Ling also sneered. The shopkeeper of Baohahal was also a little disappointed. Originally, when he saw Ling Xiao's confident look at the beginning, he also thought that Ling Xiao's results would be very good. Who knew that it would turn out like this? It was really lamentable. Poor little guy, he was probably hit hard. He shook his head gently and said, Well, since the answer sheets have been handed in, next, it's time to mark the papers. Although it's only a preliminary, but we'll still pick the 5 most outstanding answers from among them and give them a reward. Next, everyone take a rest. Let's start marking. They thought that it would take a long time to mark the papers. In fact, it only took 20 minutes. His powerful divine sense allowed the shopkeeper of the Baohahal to read the answers of 100,000 points at the same time. It was truly amazing. While he was marking the papers, his expression suddenly changed subtly. All right, the results are out. The top 10,000 will pass the test. The results are all on the big screen. Take a look for yourselves. As his voice rang out, the results of the 10,000 people who advanced were displayed on the big screen. He actually advanced. Many people saw Ling Xiao's name. This included Green Spirit, Feather Dan, the woman in green, and the leader of the Green Vine cult. They actually found Ling Xiao among the 10,000 names. Yu Xiangtian and Yu Qiren originally didn't have much expectations, but when they heard the surprised voice of the Lulua cult's leader, they were shocked. Only then did he look at it curiously. As expected, he advanced. I thought that since he was so slow, he would definitely be ranked at the back of the 100,000 people. I didn't expect him to advance. This is interesting. Yu Xiangtian smiled. Shopkeeper, is there any problem with the marking? The leader of the Green Vine cult frowned. What, is the leader afraid that I'm cheating? The shopkeeper of the Baohahal was a little unhappy. Although you're the Demon King, you can't humiliate me like this. But since you have such doubts, when it's over, I'll let you see his answers. Next, the top 5 results were announced. 5th place, Fei Yan, correct identification number 16. 4th place, Old Demon Han, correct identification number 17. At this point, everyone suddenly became nervous. The 4th and 5th places had identified so many medicinal herbs. Then who were the top 3? Who was stronger, Feather Dan, or Green Spirit. The air seemed to have become tense all of a sudden. Everyone listened quietly. Third place, Green Spirit. Correct identification number 18. Impossible. That's impossible. I clearly identified 20 types. Why is it 18? Green Spirit's expression changed drastically when he heard this result. To others, being third place was already an honor. But to him, Green Spirit, if he couldn't get first place, it would be a failure. There was no doubt about that. Can I take a look at his answer sheet? The leader of the Lulua cult also didn't believe this result. Of course. The shopkeeper of the Bauha Hall handed the answer sheet to the leader of the Lulua cult. The leader of the Lulua cult glanced at it, then frowned. Pa! He slammed his palm on the table. Trash! How many times have I told you? You must remember the basic knowledge of medicinal herbs well. You must remember it well. I can understand if you can't answer the last medicinal herb correctly, because even I can't answer it correctly. This is a question to stall for time. Giving up is the right choice. But you actually got the 19th medicinal herb wrong. Are you so anxious to death? What's the use of being fast? Hearing this, Green Spirit's temper instantly disappeared. Even his master said that he was wrong. Then he must have been wrong. Even if the shopkeeper of the Bauha Hall could cheat, his master couldn't. You can continue. The leader of the Lulua cult sighed. He sat there. Okay, second place, Feather Dan, correct identification number 19. No way. Hearing this name, many people were dumbfounded. If Feather Dan is second, then who is first? I can't accept this. Since the leader of the Lulua cult said that the last medicinal herb was a trap to stall for time, then I got 19. I should be first since I got 19 correct. How can I be second? Feather Dan was also a proud person, and second place was an unacceptable result for her. You can't accept this? The shopkeeper of the Bauha Hall laughed. That's right. My original intention was to use the last medicinal herb to stall for time, but even I didn't expect this. Someone actually managed to identify this medicinal herb. So, your result isn't the best. Your best result is a perfect identification of 20 types. How could this be? Not only were Feather Dan and Green Spirit stunned, even the leader of the Lulua cult was dumbfounded. Shopkeeper, don't joke around. Who can answer the last question correctly? That medicinal herb has 23 special transformations. If you want to answer correctly, you have to grasp all 23 transformations. If this was under normal circumstances, I would be able to do it. But to grasp all 23 transformations in such a short period of time and write them down, there simply isn't enough time. Also, you can't use your eyes to see or divine sense to investigate. That's simply impossible. The leader of the Lulua cult said loudly. This old man also had the same idea, but someone just had to do it. This is his answer sheet. In order to convince everyone, the shopkeeper of the Bauha Hall directly displayed the answer sheet on the large screen. The moment they saw this answer sheet, everyone fell silent. Genius 1, second, remember the site address. Mobile version, reading website. Chapter 4205. This was an almost perfect answer sheet. Not only was the description of each herb very detailed and accurate, there were also some characteristics that normal alchemists didn't know about. The most amazing thing was the answer for the last herb. The 23 characteristics were listed one by one, and there wasn't a single wrong answer. Whose answer sheet is this? Because there wasn't a name, it caused a lot of confusion. The person who asked was the leader of Lulua cult. As an alchemist who had spent his whole life researching alchemy, to meet such a genius, it was impossible for him not to be excited. Isn't that my answer sheet? Ling Xiao was stunned for a moment. He didn't expect that he actually got it right. He wasn't too sure before. Hearing this, the entire selection hall became dead silent. Everyone looked at Ling Xiao. However, the person in question was completely confused. Some jokes can't be made casually. How can an unranked alchemist be better than me? Yudan finally couldn't help but say this. She couldn't accept that an unranked alchemist could actually give a better answer sheet than her. This was simply a fantasy story. Yes, it's definitely impossible. Is this kid stupid? Lulua said in disdain. However, their voices didn't completely disappear. The name of the owner of this answer sheet was displayed on the big screen. At that moment, Lulua and Yu Dan's expression stiffened and became more and more ugly. Ling Xiao. As long as one wasn't an idiot, they would be able to recognize these two words. The leader of Lulua cult felt that the world was spinning. A divine physique echelon expert, who was revered as the Demon King, actually made a fool of himself in front of an Earth Core realm martial artist. He felt suffocated. He felt that he had lost all his face. Yu Xiangtian was overjoyed. Although Ling Xiao wasn't a member of the Yu family, after all, he was the one who recommended him to participate in this alchemy conference. Moreover, to be able to have such a powerful alchemist was also an extremely lucky thing for him. There might be some progress in the refinement of the shattered core divine water. In the future, the Yu family's development would also be smoother. To think that I was worried that he couldn't do it. It seemed like his worries were unnecessary. How could an existence that could control an immortal flame not have basic knowledge of medicinal herbs? You're thinking too much. The more Yu Xiangtian looked at Ling Xiao, the happier he was. If Ling Xiao wasn't backed by a powerful figure from the Golden City, he really wanted to keep him in the Yu family for the rest of his life. He was working for the Yu family. Yu Kilian was also very happy. He was currently at the 9th level of the Shattered Core stage. If he wanted to enter the Divine Body realm, he still needed a large amount of Shattered Core divine water. Ling Xiao's appearance also gave him hope, although he didn't have a good impression of Ling Xiao in the beginning. But now he really didn't care. The demonic Sirius was precious. However, the fragmented core divine water was equally important. Of course, if Ling Xiao was able to refine a heavenly demonic pill, that would be even more exciting. The so-called heavenly demonic pill had similar effects to the heavenly demonic epiphyllum, but it was much weaker. It couldn't allow a martial artist to directly enter the divine body realm, but it could still allow them to comprehend the concept of the divine body realm. Thus, it would be easier for them to enter the divine body realm. This person is really an important guest. I definitely can't neglect him in the future, or I'll really regret it for the rest of my life. Yu Kilian thought to himself, if the father and son knew the real reason why Ling Xiao came to the Yu family, they probably wouldn't be so polite. Unfortunately, no matter how hard they tried, they wouldn't be able to find out what Ling Xiao was doing now. In the hall, the dead silence lasted for a long time. Finally, it gradually disappeared. Everyone looked at Ling Xiao in surprise, jealousy, curiosity, and fear. At first, no one thought highly of Ling Xiao. Even the woman in green didn't expect Ling Xiao to be so knowledgeable in medicinal herbs. This made her a little ecstatic. Compared to her excitement, some people were very uncomfortable. Yu Dan clenched her fists tightly, her eyes full of confusion. She was even a little angry. After a long time, she finally let out a long sigh of relief. Despicable guy, he must have done it on purpose. He deliberately pretended to be weak so that we would look down on him. Then he would slap our faces. He really isn't a straightforward person. Actually, Ling Xiao didn't intend to pretend to be weak. He was indeed stumped by the last medicinal herb, which was why he spent so much time on it. But even so, Yu Dan looked at Ling Xiao with a little more helplessness. When she thought of how she treated Ling Xiao before, she knew that Ling Xiao didn't have a good impression of her. She wanted to apologize, but as the Demon Emperor's disciple, she couldn't allow herself to do so. Moreover, this was just the preliminaries. Having good basic knowledge of medicinal herbs didn't mean that he would perform well in the competition. But one fact was very clear. It was her, Yu Dan, who missed the best opportunity to befriend Ling Xiao. This made her feel a little regretful. Otherwise, Making such a friend would be a great help to her future path of alchemy. Yudan could still maintain a proper attitude, admit defeat, but Green Spirit was different. This guy's head was filled with anger. He felt that he had been played by Ling Xiao. He was the first disciple of the Green Vine sect leader, and the most outstanding alchemy genius in the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. But now he had lost to an unknown brat. Simply embarrassing. Of course, the most embarrassing thing was the words he said to Ling Xiao before the start of the test. Now that he thought about it, it was really too embarrassing. There was a layer of red burning on his fair face. Sorry, Brother Green Spirit. My results are just a little better than yours. I really can't help it. Sai, who asked me to be so outstanding. You have to work harder. Ling Xiao wasn't the kind of person who would stop when he was ahead. Seeing Green Spirit's expression, he deliberately added oil to vinegar. At that moment, Green Spirit really wanted to find a hole to hide in. This is just the preliminaries. When the competition starts, you'll know who's better. Green Spirit, whose face looked like it was dripping blood, gritted his teeth and said, that's what you said just now. I hope you won't disappoint me in the competition. Ling Xiao smiled. That one sentence made Green Spirit choke on its words. He couldn't recover for a long time. Demon King Xiangtian's foresight is indeed unique. I really misjudged this Ling Xiao. I didn't expect this brat to be so accomplished in alchemy. If only he was my disciple, that would be great. Although he had been slapped in the face, there wasn't much hatred between the Green Vine sect leader and Ling Xiao. If there was any hatred, it was only that day when he was burned by the immortal fire. But that was also his own fault. He couldn't blame Ling Xiao. Therefore, thinking about it carefully, there was no need for him to hate this brat. If he could take this brat as his disciple, wouldn't that be perfect? This brat's talent was much stronger than Green Spirit. Genius 1, second, remember the site address. Mobile version, reading website. Chapter 4206. Ahem, Brother Green. I think you don't have to think too much about accepting a disciple. You don't know his true identity. He's from the Golden City, and is the son of some almighty. Who do you think taught him all these skills? Yu Xiangtian was now more and more convinced of Ling Xiao's fabricated identity. Because Ling Xiao could control the immortal fire and was so familiar with the basic knowledge of medicinal herbs, he must have been guided by a famous master. Moreover, he believed that such a master couldn't be born in a small place. Therefore, the most likely possibility was that a certain alchemist in the Golden City had taught Ling Xiao these abilities. Brother Yu, are you talking about the Fire Emperor? The Lulua cult leader's eyelids twitched as he hurriedly asked. It's very possible. In the Golden City, the most famous alchemist is the Fire Emperor. He's the most respected figure in the golden, heavenly region below the Golden Emperor. Yu Xiangtian nodded and said, I see. What a pity. The Lulua cult leader sighed. He knew best what level the Fire Emperor was at. Back then, he went to the Golden City to compare alchemy skills with the Fire Emperor, but the result was a crushing defeat. If Ling Xiao was the Fire Emperor's disciple, then everything would make sense. In the entire 4 regions and 9 realms, there were very few people who could control the immortal fire. The Fire Emperor was one of them. Demon Kings, can I announce the end of the preliminaries? The shopkeeper of the Baoha Hall suddenly asked. Of course. Yu Xiangtian nodded and said. The shopkeeper of the Baoha Hall immediately faced the crowd and said, This time, 10,000 people will advance. Among them, the top 5 in the preliminaries would all receive an exquisite reward. The others don't have to be discouraged. The main competition is a manifestation of comprehensive skills. As long as you perform well, you will naturally receive better rewards. In addition, I need to remind you, the Baoha Hall has branches in all the major cities of the Fengdu Demon Kingdom. While we are holding the preliminaries here, the preliminaries for the branches are also being held at the same time. Although each branch is only allowed to advance 100 people, there are as many as 1,000 branches, which means there are more than 100,000 people. These people may not be worse than you. It's just that they are far away from the main hall to participate in the preliminaries. So you'd better remember, your competitors are far more than just the 10,000 people here. There are more than 100,000 people. Hearing this, many people were very excited. However, the old foxes did not seem to be easily fooled. Their emotions were still very stable. Ling Xiao was the same. Although he was a little excited in his heart, he would not show it, as expected of someone from a big place. He's actually so calm. It's as if 100,000 opponents are just stepping stones to him. Yu Xiangtian looked at Ling Xiao and really liked him more and more. That's right. Although the Demon Emperor was powerful, he was still inferior to the Fire Emperor in terms of alchemy. As a disciple of the Fire Emperor, you should be able to maintain your composure. The leader of the Green Vine cult sighed emotionally. Looking at his disciple Green Spirit, she was still brooding over the preliminaries. His face seemed to be covered with dark clouds, and no one knew what he was thinking. Fire King. Yu Qiren muttered this title. In his heart, he thought that he must build a good relationship with Ling Xiao. After all, the Flame Emperor was an existence that could bring the dead back to life. His attainments in alchemy were much higher than that of the leader of the Green Vine cult. In any case, in the entire Heavenly Fiend Ghost region, no one's alchemy skills could match that of the Fire Emperor. All right, everyone is free to move around. After the prizes were awarded, the shopkeeper of the Baoha Hall announced the end of the preliminaries. Everyone was free to move around. Those who did not pass the preliminaries could either go home or find their mothers, or stay and wait for the main competition to begin and personally experience this grand event. Even if they couldn't participate, they could still be spectators. They could always learn a lot. As for those who passed the preliminaries, they were all thinking about relaxing for a while. After all, tomorrow was the main competition. If they didn't rest well, they probably wouldn't be able to perform well in the main competition tomorrow. Ling Xiao looked at the gift box in his hand and opened it to take a look. There were some pills inside. Some replenished physical strength, some replenished vital essence, and some replenished vital essence. They were really good. However, compared to what he refined, there was still a big gap. Of course, he could refine these pills after going back, although some would be wasted. After refining, the effect of the pills would definitely be comparable to 10. It was still very cost-effective. Congratulations, Big Brother Ling. I really didn't expect that you would actually have such high attainments in alchemy, the lady in green said excitedly. It's just average. Ling Xiao smiled very modestly. He wasn't trying to be pretentious, but compared to a Yuan Venerate, his alchemy skills could only be considered average. Excessive modesty is arrogance. At that moment, Lu Ling also walked over and said in a strange tone, Since your master is the Fire Emperor of the City of Gold, why didn't you say so earlier? Why didn't you say it from the start? You're still putting on airs. Are you deliberately trying to make a fool of yourself? Fire Emperor? Who is the Fire Emperor? Ling Xiao couldn't help but be stunned. This was the first time he had heard of the Fire Emperor. Still pretending? The Fire Emperor is perhaps the most outstanding alchemist in the entire 4 regions and 9 realms. He is even more powerful than my master. You are his disciple, so it's natural for you to beat me. It would be embarrassing if you lost to me. Lu Ling said coldly. Sorry, I really don't know any Fire Emperor. Ling Xiao shrugged and said, No matter what you say, the truth is the truth. The Flame Emperor might be a great alchemist. The Fire Emperor might be a great alchemist, but he has nothing to do with me. It doesn't matter if you don't admit it, but I have to tell you one thing. I definitely won't let you win during the competition. Even if you are the Fire Emperor's disciple, I will still win glory for the Green Vine sect. Lu Ling said excitedly. Up to you. Ling Xiao said indifferently. He was full of disgust for Lu Ling. This kind of self-proclaimed genius would always find all sorts of excuses to prove that they hadn't lost face after losing a competition. For example, she had arranged for him to have the Fire Emperor as his master. That was how it was. Lu Ling, I will take my leave first." Ling Xiao wanted to go back and refine his reward. He really had nothing to say to these people here. Okay, the lady in green wanted to say a few more words to Ling Xiao. However, she gave up after seeing her eldest senior brother's reaction. If it were her, she would probably be annoyed to death. What's so great about it? Outstanding basic knowledge of medicinal herbs doesn't mean that you are outstanding in all aspects. I just want to show you that even without the immortal fire, my Lu Ling alchemy skills are definitely better than yours. Lu Ling snorted coldly and said indignantly, "Lu Ling, follow me." The leader of the Green Vine sect walked over at this moment and said in a serious tone, "Before the competition begins, I want to impart my ultimate skill to you. I lost to the Fire Emperor back then. I won't allow you to lose to his disciple again." "That's great, Master." In the past, Lu Ling had always wanted that ultimate skill, but the leader of the Green Vine sect refused. This time, it was a blessing in disguise. End of chapter. Chapter 4207. Yo, isn't this Ling Xiao? Looking at you. You seem to have passed the preliminaries? Just as he walked out of the backyard, he heard an annoying voice. Ling Xiao didn't need to raise his head to know that this voice was Yuan's. During the preliminaries, only people with special status could enter to watch. Yuan didn't have this qualification, so he didn't know what was going on inside. But seeing that Ling Xiao's expression didn't look that depressed, he guessed that Ling Xiao had passed the preliminaries. "I've troubled young Master Yuan. I passed it by accident." Ling Xiao said indifferently, "Don't be too proud. I'm afraid that even if you pass the preliminaries, your results wouldn't be that good. Who's first? Let me guess. It must be Lu Ling or Yu Dan. One of them is the eldest disciple of the Lulua cult leader. The other is the Demon Emperor's disciple. Whether it's cultivation or alchemy, they're all first class." Yuan was very unhappy with Ling Xiao, so no matter what, he had to make a few sarcastic remarks. Ling Xiao smiled and was about to speak. At this moment, the other alchemists also came out from the backyard. Among them was the gloomy Lu Ling, as well as Yu Dan, who looked serious and unwilling. "Look, Lu Ling and Yu Dan are out. They're the popular candidates for the champion of this alchemy conference. TSK, TSK, TSK. Lu Ling is indeed Lu Ling valiant and heroic, extraordinary. The eldest disciple of the Lulua cult is awesome. I like Yu Dan more. Not only is she beautiful, but her ability is also first class, and she's the Demon Emperor's disciple. 2 fourth-grade alchemists. I wonder which one of them will be first in the preliminaries. I'm so envious." "Don't be envious. They all have good masters. You can slowly endure." The people waiting outside all turned their gazes to Yu Dan and Lu Ling without hesitation. As for Ling Xiao and the others, no one cared at all. Ling Xiao smiled slightly. Seeing Lu Ling's embarrassed and dark face, he felt quite happy in his heart. "Lu Ling, don't be angry, follow me." When the leader of the Green Vine cult saw that his disciple was so impatient, he couldn't help but laugh. He sighed helplessly. He called the green spirit away. Instead of getting angry here, he might as well go back and impart his ultimate skill to Green Spirit. That way, they could still make a comeback in the main competition. Lu Ling took a deep breath, looked at Ling Xiao, and said, "Tomorrow we'll see who's better. Goodbye." At this moment, he was clearly not in the mood to continue staying here. The more others praised him, the hotter his face became. The more he thought about it, the more upset he felt. With that, he turned around and left. Yuan and the others found it a little strange. Why would a green spirit care so much about Ling Xiao? She even looked like she was gnashing her teeth. Could it be that something happened during the preliminaries? "Brother Ling, see you tomorrow." Old Demon Han walked over and cupped his hands before leaving. "See you tomorrow, Mr. Ling." Behind him, many alchemists came over to greet Ling Xiao. Some people's attitudes were even a little flattering. This made the people waiting outside all dumbfounded. Yuan was even more confused. What's the situation? Who is that person? Why do I feel that many people are especially respectful to him? Don't know, never seen him before. I've seen him before. In the Fengdu Devil Forest. He was the one who snatched the demonic epiphyllum. Everyone was discussing animatedly, and the attention they paid to Ling Xiao was obviously much higher. However, Ling Xiao did not want to listen to these flattering words. He obviously realized that the respect these people had for him was mostly because they misunderstood that he was the Fire Emperor's disciple. He lifted his foot and squeezed outside. "Brother Ling, please wait." Suddenly, Yu Dan caught up with Ling Xiao and said with a smile, "Brother Ling, we alchemists who advanced in the preliminaries. We're going to have a bonfire party tonight. You must attend." "Sorry, I don't seem to know you. I'm just an unknown, unranked alchemist, that's all. I don't dare to talk to you." Ling Xiao was the kind of person who would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. Yu Dan thought that he did not remember what happened before, but in reality, Ling Xiao remembered very clearly. After saying that, he left. Yu Dan's expression was a little awkward. At first, she was a little angry, but after a long time, she suddenly let out a long sigh. In the end, it's still my fault. If it were me being said that, I wouldn't be happy either. Helpless, she also left. "Shopkeeper, what's going on?" Yu Luan saw Baoha Hall's shopkeeper walk out and hurriedly asked. "Nothing happened." Baoha Hall's shopkeeper shook his head and said, "That's not right. If nothing happened, how could those people be so respectful to Ling Xiao?" Yu Luan asked, "Oh, you're talking about this. Do you know who got first place in the preliminaries this time?" Baoha Hall's shopkeeper asked with a smile. "What's so hard to guess? It's either Green Spirit or Yu Dan." Yu Luan opened her mouth. The others also nodded. "Haha, you're all wrong. The one who got first place is neither Green Spirit nor Yu Dan. It can't be that Ling Xiao." Yu Luan had a bad premonition. "Haha, you guessed right. It's this Ling Xiao." Amazing, in the case of losing his vision and divine sense, he actually identified all the medicinal herbs, and Yu Dan only identified 19 kinds. Green Spirit, only 18 kinds, not as good as him. Baoha Hall's shopkeeper said with a smile. His words were like a clap of thunder that struck the crowd. Everyone's expression instantly stiffened, feeling as if they were struck by lightning. How could this be? Ling Xiao was actually better than Yu Dan and Green Spirit in alchemy? "Shopkeeper, your joke is not very funny." The muscles on Yu Luan's face twitched, and her expression was a little distorted. She really couldn't accept such a thing. Just now she was mocking Ling Xiao, but now she was slapped hard. This retribution came a little too fast. "I don't have time to joke with you. Xiangtian Demon King and Young Master are both here. Didn't you see the expression on Green Spirit's face?" Baoha Hall's shopkeeper smiled and lifted his foot to leave. After Ling Xiao left Baoha Hall, he went straight to the Yu family. The place where he lived could be entered from the side door of the Yu family, and it was relatively quiet. It was relatively far from the main residence of the Yu family. Usually, no one came to disturb him. But today, when he just arrived there, he found that the place had become lively. Several people surrounded the place where he lived and seemed to be arguing about something. Ling Xiao frowned and lifted his foot to walk over. "Xiao, who are these people?" He was very unhappy. This was the place where he cultivated in seclusion, but there were people making noise outside. "I'm sorry, young Masterling, this alchemy conference has attracted many distinguished guests. The Yu family also has distant relatives who came. These few people have taken a fancy to this place and want to stay." Xiao replied, "Tell them to get lost." How could Ling Xiao's attitude be good when someone wanted to take over the place? Chapter 4208. Ling Xiao was shocked when he heard that someone was trying to take over his place. Even Yu Xiangtian didn't dare to do that. Who knew where this shit came from? How dare you try to steal my place? Ling Xiao, watch your mouth. Yu Zhan is the hero of the Yu family. He is guarding the border for the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. He only came back because the alchemy conference needed some guards. I suggest you give up your place as soon as possible, or else you won't have a good time." The one who spoke was Yufeng. Ling Xiao knew that if no one instigated this, no one would choose this place. "If you want to live here, go find Yu Qiren. If he says we can, we'll move out. Or else, get the hell out of here." Ling Xiao's attitude was still firm. Because he represented the Golden City, he couldn't afford to be weak. Or else he would be seen through. "Brat, who are you asking to get the hell out of here?" Yu Zhan furiously roared out. Suddenly, a terrifying True Yuan was unleashed from his body. The stone bricks on the ground cracked and shattered. He looked like a giant bear. Clenching both fists, he punched towards Ling Xiao. Fighting without hesitation, this guy didn't waste any time. The terrifying True Yuan contained a terrifying strength that could kill anyone. Besides, this guy's cultivation was the same as Yu Feng's, a perfect heavenly core warrior. If Ling Xiao didn't use his martial soul or giant devil, he wouldn't be a match for this guy. He had no choice but to circulate his True Yuan. He charged forward. Boom! A loud explosion sounded out. A violent energy exploded between the two men. Ling Xiao was pushed back a dozen steps, and blood was coming out from the corner of his mouth. He almost crashed into the house. The expression on his face became even colder. A terrifying killing intent gushed out from his body. His pitch-black eyes were shining with a bloodthirsty light. The fight here had attracted a lot of attention. The alchemy conference had already made the Yu family lively. Today, many people had come to visit the Yu family. Even the Devil Emperor's disciple, Yu Dan, was among them. Yu Dan had been invited to live here. However, he hadn't met Ling Xiao before. Interesting. Are they fighting? Although Ling Xiao's alchemy skills were not bad, he was only at the mid-earth core realm. Against Yu Zhan, you won't be able to gain any advantage. She did not intend to stop him. Today, Ling Xiao had insulted her in front of so many people. She didn't feel good about it. It was always good to see Ling Xiao suffer. Yu Zhan has been fighting with me ever since we were young because of our names. I've never beaten him even once. Yang Zhan walked out at an unknown time and stood beside Yu Dan. Whenever he thought about how Yu Zhan had fought with him in the past, he would feel uncomfortable in his heart. Yu Zhan was definitely a ferocious fellow. That Ling Xiao is really unlucky to have provoked Yu Zhan. He's not just unlucky, he's clearly been tricked by Yu Feng. No matter what, Ling Xiao is going to suffer today. A group of people were discussing among themselves. However, the manager of the Yu clan's auction house, Yu Haotian, did not laugh. He thought of the giant demon that Ling Xiao had released. He did not think that Yu Zhan could gain any advantage. He might even be beaten into a cripple. Ling Xiao wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He looked at Yu Zhan coldly. The smell of fresh blood made him feel a bloodthirsty emotion. Wanna die? Yu Zhan had obviously premeditated that attack for a long time. It was obvious that he wanted to kill him with one punch. If his physical body was not strong enough, if his transformation was not fast enough, that punch just now would definitely kill him, and an ordinary cultivator would probably be beaten into minced meat. Haha! Such a trash actually wants to fight with me for territory. I'm a meritorious member of the Yu clan. I can live wherever I want. Now pack up and get lost. Otherwise, I'll beat you to death. Yu Zhan looked at Ling Xiao with disdain in his eyes. Yu Feng, on the other hand, was laughing at the side, secretly cursing Ling Xiao for asking for it. Yu Zhan was a rash person. In the Yu family, except for the two demon kings, he did not give face to anyone else. Even Yu Qiren could not persuade him. Whoever Yu Zhan wanted to kill, that person had to die. Ha! Ling Xiao sneered. Crazy vital essence roared out from his body. He did not use the giant demon to help, because he wanted to use this Yu Zhan as much as possible to improve his strength. If he blindly relied on the giant demon, it would be very difficult to improve. As for the Azure Lotus Swordswoman and Ancestor Scarlet Flame in the room, they originally wanted to come out to help. They were all persuaded by Ling Xiao. He asked the Azure Lotus swordswoman and Ancestor Scarlet Flame to continue to pretend that their injuries had not healed. In this way, once they launched an attack on the Yu family, it could be even more sudden. The Eastern Victory Sky Sword and the Eastern Victory Demon Sword were in Ling Xiao's hands. Domineering aura and demonic aura gushed out at the same time. 2 ferocious beasts roared behind him. 12 divine beast technique, 2nd level. Blood-red sky-drilling rat. 9 heavens, freezing dragon. 1 sword, bloody and horrifying. The other sword, cold and eerie. The 2 forces blended together and attacked Yu Zhan at the same time. At this moment, Yu Zhan's expression changed dramatically. He was not an idiot. He could also feel the danger from this terrifying force. But the onlookers could not directly feel Ling Xiao's strength. Therefore, in their opinion, Ling Xiao was overestimating himself. "Sai, is it worth it for a broken house? He will lose his life. If it was me, I would have packed up and left. Although it's embarrassing, at least he can save his life." Yang Zhan sighed and shook his head. Because he knew Yu Zhan well, he had a deep fear of Yu Zhan in his heart. Men will always want some face. But doing this is really not a wise thing to do. Yu Dan said with a smile. Of course. She was not optimistic about Ling Xiao's chances, because in her world, there had never been an Earth Core warrior who could defeat a perfect Heavenly Core warrior. In the midst of these people's discussion, Ling Xiao's attack collided with Yu Zhan's defense. This time, Yu Zhan was on the defensive side. In a hurry, he didn't even release his martial soul. Therefore, he didn't use his full strength. Because of this, when the 2 forces collided, Yu Zhan was blasted away like a kite with a broken string. He fell into the lake nearby. Waves splashed into the sky. At this moment, everyone became quiet. Who would have thought that Ling Xiao, an Earth Core warrior's attack, could reach such a level? With just a single attack, Yu Zhan was blasted away. Although Yu Zhan didn't use his full strength, but there were not many perfect Heavenly Core warriors who dared say they could send Yu Zhan flying. But Ling Xiao had done it. Yu Dan was so excited that she dropped the cup in her hand. The boiling hot tea splashed onto Yang Zhan's face. Luckily, Yang Zhan was a warrior, or else his skin would have been scalded off. This guy, he is really surprising. I never expected that not only is his alchemy ability outstanding, he is also a fighter. Not only is he not an alchemist, but he is also very good at fighting. Yu Dan was so surprised that she started mumbling to herself. Yang Zhan's expression became even uglier. The person he was afraid of was sent flying by Ling Xiao. This made him feel really uncomfortable. Genius memorized this site's address in 1 second. Vertex Mobile Version Website. M. Chapter 4209. In the courtyard, everyone were staring at Ling Xiao with shock. No one had expected that this young man who was only at the Earth Core realm could unleash a frightening combat strength that could send a perfect Heavenly Core warrior flying. The attack just now, if it was a late Heavenly Core warrior, perhaps he would have been killed by it. Even an ordinary perfect Heavenly Core warrior would have been severely injured. Yu Zhan was one of the stronger warriors among the perfect Heavenly Core warriors. Because he had been fighting in the army for a long time, he had trained his body to be extremely strong. But even so, he was still sent flying while vomiting blood. He fell into the lake, and no one knew if he was still alive. As long as one wasn't blind, they would be able to tell how frightening Ling Xiao was. But no one could understand why this little Earth Core warrior could unleash such a frightening combat strength. Was it because of that martial skill? Indeed, the energy he unleashed was terrifying. Of course, another reason for this was that Yu Zhan didn't use any martial skill. He didn't use his martial soul either. But even so, being able to send Yu Zhan flying with just an Earth Core warrior was still an incredible feat. Sigh, looks like I've misjudged him. This Ling Xiao is much stronger than I thought. Yu Dan let out a sigh. She felt like laughing at her own stubbornness. She wanted to see how Ling Xiao was going to be beaten. Then she would go over and help him. With that, Ling Xiao would owe her a favor. Then the gap between them would be removed. But now, the situation wasn't what she had imagined. Yang Zhan's mouth kept twitching. After a long while, he finally said, "That guy Yu Zhan has a bad temper. After suffering such a huge loss today, he definitely wants to get back his face. That Ling Xiao is really unlucky. I don't think he will die. He is, after all, a guest of your family. Yu Feng doesn't dare let him die. Otherwise, if the Heavenly Demon King comes after him, he will have to bear the consequences." Yu Dan thought for a moment and said, she had to admit that if Yu Zhan fought with all his strength, Ling Xiao would definitely not be his match. Although she had already thought highly of Ling Xiao, she had to admit that this was a fact. That's not necessarily true. Yu Zhan is a madman. If he really killed Ling Xiao, Demon King Xiangtian wouldn't do anything to him. Yang Zhan believed in his own judgment. "Young master, are you all right?" Green Lotus Swordswoman and Ancestor Scarlet Flame had already walked out. Seeing the blood at the corner of Ling Xiao's mouth, he was a little angry. If Green Lotus Swordswoman had not been holding him back, Forefather Scarlet Flame would have already made his move. "It's fine." Ling Xiao shook his head and said, "Not only am I fine, but I also feel great." After his physical body had advanced to high-grade 8th Order Emperor Realm, very few people could injure him. The defensive power of the Heavenly Demon Black Tortoise physique was no joke. Yu Zhan being able to injure him made him feel happy. This was because the Heavenly Devil Thunder Jade in his body was being consumed once again. This meant that his physical strength would continue to increase. Suddenly, an angry roar came from the lake. Yu Zhan jumped out of the lake. His entire body was filled with terrifying killing intent. "Good boy. Your sword just now really made me feel a lot of pain. Originally, as long as you packed your things and got lost, I could spare your life. But now I've changed my mind. You must die." Behind him, a terrifying demonic shadow appeared. His entire aura turned into a rich black color, like a demonic beast that drilled out of the water. "Yu Zhan, this is not quite the same as what we agreed on." Yu Feng was a little worried. Just as Yu Dan said, Yu Feng did not dare to let Yu Zhan kill Ling Xiao. If Ling Xiao died, although the family would not go so far as to kill him, but no matter what, he would have to be severely punished. His cultivation might even be crippled. Right now, Ling Xiao was the only alchemist who could save the demon son. No one else could. Just this point alone, Yu Feng's sin was great. "Shut up. If you fart again, I'll beat you up too." Yu Zhan was really annoyed. He did not care about Ling Xiao's identity, or even what kind of person the demon son was. Anyway, Ling Xiao had already annoyed him today, and he was going to kill Ling Xiao. If he did not kill him, he would not be able to sleep in peace. Ling Xiao quickly kneeled down and apologized to him. This guy is very prideful. As long as you apologize to him, he might let you go. Yu Feng looked at Ling Xiao and said. Ling Xiao smiled contemptuously and looked at Yu Zhan indifferently. "Someone will definitely die today, but the one who will die will definitely not be me. Is that so?" Yu Zhan sneered again and again. True essence crazily gushed out of his body. For a moment, a layer of black armor condensed on his body. Magic power armor? Ling Xiao frowned. This was a magic power of demonic cultivators, which could use magic power and true essence to condense armor with extremely strong defensive power, while making the enemy unable to hurt the user. It could also constantly corrupt the enemy's true essence. It was really a difficult thing to deal with, but it was just a frown. The more tyrannical Yu Zhan was, the more excited he was. Behind him, the beast soul completely bloomed. A berserk aura rushed about in the air. This aura made Yu Zhan's face freeze. But Yu Zhan was also a person who would not cry until he saw the coffin. The stronger Ling Xiao was, the more he wanted to trample him under his feet. The aura on the surface of his body became thicker and thicker. A tyrannical aura swept through the entire courtyard like a stormy sea. Among the martial artists who came with him, The ones with weaker cultivations were so scared that they retreated very far away. Only Yufeng could still stand there, but his face was full of bitterness. Don't tell me I have to help Ling Xiao deal with Yu Zhan today? Yufeng felt very uncomfortable in his heart. Although he did not want Ling Xiao to die, he did not want to deal with Yu Zhan even more. Otherwise, he would not be able to bear Yu Zhan's revenge. Go to hell, kid! Yu Zhan bent his legs, and the terrifying power cracked the ground. Like a spider web, it spread to the surroundings. Then his body slightly leaned forward, like a fierce beast ready to hunt at any time. Boom! There was an explosion. Like a spring, he shot out. Yu Zhan's body turned into a black light, shooting toward Ling Xiao. It could be seen that this guy was a martial artist who liked close combat. While flying, the ground was scraped out by the force of his explosion, leaving behind a series of ravines. The scene looked very frightening. Facing Yu Zhan's attack, on Ling Xiao's right hand, a terrifying energy began to condense. A power that could destroy heaven and earth was beginning to show signs. In the blink of an eye, Yu Zhan had already arrived in front of Ling Xiao. His fists turned into black iron hammers. They madly smashed toward Ling Xiao. The appearance was not very good, but Yang Zhan and Yufeng were well aware of the power of this black iron hammer. Black Hammer Fist. The name was not very good, but many people knew that this was a high-grade 8th-level Emperor-level martial technique. Following Yu Zhan's roar, that black fist, with the will to destroy everything, smashed toward Ling Xiao's head. Ling Xiao just watched quietly. His right hand was still accumulating power. 3 Xiao Shua Shua. Omega. 3 cubed carat x carat O square meter is worth collecting. Chapter 4210. Feeling that oppressive and berserk combat power, Ling Xiao could only use his current most powerful martial skill, Heaven Covering Palm. Finally, he sent out a palm. The black palm that covered the sky smashed onto Yu Zhan's black hammer fist. Bang! A terrifying sound rang out. The black energy on Yu Zhan's fists began to dissipate. The violent force caused Yu Zhan to retreat again. Although he wasn't in a sorry state like before, he still took a few steps back. Every step left a deep footprint on the ground. It was at least a foot thick. In the end, he forcefully planted his feet on the ground, and the ground suddenly collapsed. Only then did he stabilize his body. But he had already retreated 7 or 8 steps. In comparison, Ling Xiao also retreated 7 or 8 steps, but his movements were more elegant. The power didn't dissipate. Instead, after 7 or 8 steps, he absorbed all the power. Heaven Covering Palm. How can he know the Heaven Covering Palm? That's Master's best martial skill before the Divine Body Realm. Seeing the Heaven Covering Palm, Yu Dan was extremely shocked. Although she didn't learn this martial skill, it was the famous martial skill of the Demon Emperor. How could it not be strong? That's the Heaven Covering Palm? Damn it, I didn't expect that other than the demonic epiphyllum, he actually obtained such a good thing. Yang Zhan gritted his teeth and became more and more jealous. You mean he snatched this Heaven Covering Palm in the Fengdu demonic forest? Impossible. My senior brother Ghost Sword is also participating in this competition. How could he lose to this kid? Yu Dan was even more surprised. There's no other way. This kid is very cunning, using the power of the human demon and the heavenly demon. He tricked everyone else and gained the advantage. Yang Zhan sighed helplessly. Ling Xiao originally planned to continue fighting with Yu Zhan. But suddenly he felt Yu Qiren's aura. If Yu Qiren appeared here, then he wouldn't be able to kill Yu Zhan. When he thought of this, his expression suddenly became ruthless. Yu Zhan, your strength is not bad. With my current cultivation, I can't beat you. But what I have, you don't have. Giant demon, fight! Following his low roar, a huge figure suddenly appeared. Then he turned into an afterimage. He arrived in front of Yu Zhan in the blink of an eye. a huge claw slammed Yu Zhan into the ground. Troll! Everyone was taken aback. Who would have thought that Ling Xiao's combat strength was already so formidable? He actually had such an ability. I knew it. He has finally used his trump card. Yu Haotian smiled bitterly. He had also fallen at the hands of this troll. These giant devils had coarse skin and thick flesh. Their bodies were extremely tough. He believed that none of the heavenly core warriors were a match for this devil. Yu Zhan was no exception. Moreover, Yu Zhan had already been seriously injured by Ling Xiao. In the face of the powerful giant demon, they had no power to resist at all. After being slapped a few times by the giant demon, he was already on the verge of death. Only now did Yu Feng come to his senses. He rushed over to save Yu Zhan. However, Ling Xiao blocked him. Now you want to save people? What were you doing earlier? If Yu Zhan dies today, you will have committed a great sin. Ling Xiao looked at Yu Feng and said with a sneer, Ling Xiao, you've already taken your revenge. That's enough. If you really kill Yu Zhan, don't even think about staying in the Yu family anymore. Yu Feng was very anxious. I didn't want to kill him, he wanted to kill me. I was just defending myself. No matter where I go, I have to be polite. I am a genius from the Golden City. Why can't I kill a piece of trash from the Yu family? Giant demon, kill Yu Zhan. Ling Xiao sneered. He was very calm right now. Yu Zhan had to be killed. If he didn't, it would make him look like a coward. People would start to doubt his true identity. Only by killing Yu Zhan would those people be more afraid of him, and they would believe that he was backed by an almighty warrior from the Golden City. Even Yu Xiangtian was being threatened by the Golden Flame Seal. He wouldn't dare offend the Golden City. Yu Zhan was just a mere Yu Zhan. No one would care if he died. Giant Demon received Ling Xiao's order. He directly grabbed Yu Zhan's stomach with his hand and crushed Yu Zhan's inner core. How could this be? When Yu Qiren rushed over, he was also very shocked. He heard that Yu Zhan came to find trouble with Ling Xiao. In his heart, he thought that he must not let Ling Xiao be killed. Otherwise, the demon son's treatment would stop. But he didn't expect that. When he arrived, he actually saw the scene of Yu Zhan being killed. And this scene was really a bit terrifying. This guy is really ruthless. Fortunately, I didn't offend him too much. Yu Dan couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air when he saw Yu Zhan's dead body. Ordinary people, living in someone else's home, definitely wouldn't dare to attack someone else's family. But this Ling Xiao was too fierce. He actually killed Yu Zhan in front of the Yu family. You did it. There was a hint of anger in Yu Qiren's tone. Blue Lotus, Swordswoman, and Ancestor Scarlet Flame were already ready to make a move. If Yu Qiren really wanted to harm Ling Xiao, of course they couldn't stand by and watch. With the strength of the two of them, defeating Yu Qiren shouldn't be a problem. After all, Ling Xiao had helped them make a breakthrough. What you should ask is whether I'm fine or not. Is this the way the Yu family treats their guests? Living here, I actually have to face the danger of being killed. If it weren't for my strength, I'm afraid I would have been killed by him today. Yu Qiren, get it clear. Killing me is an attempt to murder the demon's son. I suggest you investigate whether this Yu Zhan was instigated by the enemy. Ling Xiao faced Yu Qiren, neither servile nor overbearing. Instead, he questioned him. This stunned Yu Qiren for a moment. Looking at Ling Xiao, he had to admit that Ling Xiao's words were domineering. But it also made sense. Ling Xiao was the only person who could save the demon's son. Staying in the Yu family meant that he was an honored guest of the family. But today he was attacked. No matter what, it was the Yu family's fault. He couldn't refute this point. Mr. Ling, don't worry, this will never happen again. Capture Yu Feng and the others. Clean up Yu Zhan's body. From now on, no one dares to harm Mr. Ling in the Yu family. Kill without mercy. Yu Qiren gritted his teeth. He hated Ling Xiao in his heart, but he had to say this. At the very least, before the demon's son was cured, he couldn't fall out with Ling Xiao. Otherwise, his father wouldn't forgive him. and he would likely become a sinner of the Yu family. Farewell. Yu Qiren cupped his hands to Ling Xiao and then left with the others. The onlookers also gradually dispersed, but this matter inevitably caused a lot of discussion. The Yu family's people attacked Ling Xiao in the Yu family, but were killed by Ling Xiao. The Yu family didn't dare to do anything to Ling Xiao. Many people suspected that Ling Xiao had some powerful backer, and the rumor that he was the Flame Emperor's disciple had already spread. Ling Xiao was too lazy to explain anything. In any case, he wasn't the one who said it. Please remember the domain name of this book. Let's all read it on the mobile version. Chapter 42:11. Yu Zhan's death set off a big wave, but it passed just like that. On the second day, what people were most concerned about was the beginning of the alchemy conference, when the first ray of sunlight gently caressed the earth in the early morning. Fengdu Devil Kingdom, the greatest city, woke up from its sleep. Alchemists from all over the country who had passed the preliminaries walked out of the hotels and goose houses. They wore the alchemist robe that they would only wear in the competition, although they were still doing the preliminaries in other places yesterday. This did not affect their arrival in Fengdu City that day. After all, there was a teleportation array between the Baoha Hall and the branch hall. They could teleport over in an instant, and they could even have a good sleep. Ling Xiao also forgot about yesterday's unhappiness. He focused on preparing for today's conference, since he had decided to obtain the broken pill divine water. Then no matter what happened, he must persevere to the end. Just like in the Fengdu Devil Forest, under such a difficult environment, he finally obtained the demonic epiphyllum. Young master, did you sleep well yesterday? He had just woken up and had not finished washing up when he saw Forefather Scarlet Flame training outside. Forefather Scarlet Flame seemed to be more excited than Ling Xiao about today's alchemy conference. It was as if he couldn't wait to go to the venue and see the beginning of the conference. It's okay. Ling Xiao yawned. For a martial artist of his level, it was not a problem for him to not sleep for a few days. But every once in a while, he still had to make up for it and let his body rest. There are so many people outside. Green Lotus, Sword Maiden walked in from the side door. It turned out that she couldn't stay idle. Along the way, there are alchemists wearing alchemist robes. Good heavens! I have never seen such a large-scale alchemy conference in my life. Has the Golden City never held such a conference? Ling Xiao asked curiously. No. Speaking of which, the Yu family is still very respectful to alchemists. No wonder they could win against the Qi family in the battle. The Qi family doesn't have such foresight. Green Lotus Sword Maiden sighed. Our Golden City doesn't seem to have such respect for alchemists either. This is not a good thing. All right, let's not talk about it. I should set off. After Ling Xiao was done, he changed into the alchemist robe that he had bought yesterday. This thing looked pretty cool on him. It was said that as long as one wore this type of clothing, they would be treated with great respect on the streets of Necropolis. Ling Xiao naturally had to change. Young master, can we follow them to watch the show? Green Lotus Sword Maiden asked. Look at what you're saying. Although you all call me young master, in reality, I've always treated you all as seniors. As long as he didn't reveal his strength easily. What's wrong with going to watch the show? I reckon that the Yu family would have to prepare a VIP viewing platform for the two of you. Ling Xiao smiled and walked outside. There were too many people at the main entrance, so they went through the side entrance. Along the way, there was really a sea of people. It felt like there were a lot more people than usual, although most of them were just here to watch the show. However, most people were unable to watch it live. However, this alchemy conference was being broadcasted live. Through the secret live broadcast, everyone could purchase a mirror magic treasure from a Yu family shop. Receive the signal. How else could the Yu family be so rich? Not only did they respect alchemists, but they also knew how to make money. The price of this mirror was not expensive. It was only about 2,000 high-grade spirit stones. However, there were many people buying it. 10,000 people would be 20 million. 100,000 people would be 200 million. One had to know that the population of Necropolis alone was hundreds of millions. Not to mention the entire Fengdu Devil Kingdom. This mirror magic treasure could not only watch the live broadcast of this alchemy conference. If the Yu family had any conferences in the future, they could also broadcast it live. Naturally, people liked to buy it. In any case, it could be said that they were making a lot of money. Although there were a lot of people, when they saw the clothes Ling Xiao was wearing, they all made way for him. This robe was also sold by the Yu family, and it had the logo of the Yu family and the alchemy conference on it. The key was that it was anti-counterfeit and others could not copy it at all. When he arrived at Baoha Hall, the shopkeeper of Baoha Hall actually came out to welcome him personally. This made Ling Xiao feel a little flattered. "Mr. Ling, you're finally here. I was afraid that you wouldn't come." The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall was also an alchemist, so he was very respectful to the geniuses and experts among the alchemists. "How could that be? I'm a layman, and I'm thinking about the rewards of this conference." Ling Xiao laughed. "Mr. Ling, you really know how to joke. Come with me." The shopkeeper personally invited Ling Xiao into Baoha Hall and then went to the backyard. The venue this time is a small world. There are all kinds of necessary conditions for the assessment. It's not a problem to accommodate 1,000,000 people. There are 100,000 contestants in the main competition this time, so it's not a problem. 100,000 people, I'm afraid it's not just the alchemists of the Fengdu Devil Kingdom, right? Ling Xiao asked with a smile. That's right. This alchemy conference is not limited to the Fengdu Devil Kingdom. It's for the entire Heavenly Demon Ghost region. Of course, if people outside are also willing to participate, we will definitely welcome them. The shopkeeper replied, "Even if it's the main competition, there are several rounds of competition. In each round, many people will be eliminated. It can be considered quite cruel." In the past, Ling Xiao had participated in similar alchemy conferences, but the number of people at that time could not be compared to now. Now, the number of people was directly 100,000. Just the thought of this scale was enough to excite anyone. His opponents might not only be green spirits and Yudan. There might even be geniuses from other places. Whether or not he could win the championship, he really had no idea. Soon, Ling Xiao followed the shopkeeper into this small world. At a glance, the huge assessment venue could not be seen. Unless one used the Taiji eye, they really could not see the other side from here. Even the audience needed to use the big screen to see some details. Of course, binoculars or semi-techniques that could allow one to see far were very popular in this environment. As expected, the shopkeeper arranged VIP seats for them. Watching the competition here would be even clearer. Moreover, on every VIP seat, there was actually a mirror magic treasure installed. If they really couldn't see clearly, they could still watch it through this. After sitting there and waiting for a while, Yu Shangtian opened his mouth. "I hereby announce that the first alchemy conference of the Fengdu Devil Kingdom begins now." Following his announcement, the entire venue instantly became lively. After a long while, the noise gradually stopped. Yu Xiangtian continued to announce, "All participants, please enter your seat according to your number plate." Following his announcement, countless figures flew up into the sky from the grandstand. After reaching the divine core realm, who didn't know how to fly, it was as if all of them were trying their best to show off their movement skills. It was as if they were trying to win everyone's applause. Geniuses memorized this site's address in a second. Vertex Mobile Version Website. Chapter 4212. Ling Xiao noticed one thing. These 100,000 people were divided into 10 rows, and the 3 seats at the front of each row were very prominent. They attracted a lot of attention, and his number was the first seat in the first row. This also meant that he was ranked first in the preliminaries. As for Green Spirit and Feather Dan, they happened to be next to him. It seemed that the first 3 seats in each row should be occupied by the 3 people with the best results. He didn't know why the organizers did this. The more people paid attention to him, the easier it was to make mistakes. Many people would be very nervous in such a situation. But Ling Xiao didn't care. He was the emperor of the Celestial Empire and had long been used to being worshipped and respected by others, and he had never liked to keep a low profile. It was a waste of youth if he wasn't frivolous. When he was young, he wasn't crazy. When he was old, he couldn't be crazy even if he wanted to. Thinking of this, he suddenly soared into the air. The huge wings of the undying bird spread out. It immediately attracted everyone's attention. Green Spirit frowned. This guy really likes to show off. He wanted to show off too, but after seeing Ling Xiao's performance, he immediately gave up that idea. Because no matter how he thought about it, his performance couldn't be better than Ling Xiao's. What beautiful wings of the undying bird! Handsome. He actually went to the first row, which means that he was the first in the preliminaries of Fengdu City's Peace Hall. He actually suppressed Green Spirit and Feather Dan? Unbelievable. Ling Xiao just casually used the partial transformation of the undying bird beast soul transformation. He didn't mean to show off at all, because he felt that this was the fastest and most effortless way to reach his seat. But what he didn't expect was that he had unknowingly pretended to be a big B** starred. It attracted the worship and appreciation of countless people. Of course, it also attracted the sarcasm and sarcasm of many competitors. However, Ling Xiao didn't care. At this moment, he had already begun to observe the things on the seats. Even if he was very confident, he would never be careless. Everyone's table had the same medicinal herbs, the same pill formula. At first glance, it seemed to be to examine alchemy skills. But when Ling Xiao looked carefully, he realized the first round of the examination was not about alchemy. Instead, it was a series of complicated tests such as correcting mistakes, testing drugs, and dispensing drugs. This was because the herbs on the table were not exactly the same as the ones written on the prescription. Some of the herbs inside were even wrong. It was just that their appearance and smell were the same as the corresponding herbs. However, the effect was the complete opposite. The pill recipe was also wrong. When refining pills, the amount of each type of medicinal ingredient needed was strictly regulated. He couldn't afford to be careless. However, although there were a few medicinal ingredients in this pill formula that were correct, the dosage was clearly written wrongly. Maybe a little more or a little less. But just this little bit was enough to cause the refinement to fail completely. There really are traps everywhere. Ling Xiao shook his head and smiled bitterly. In this first round of assessment, it was likely that many alchemists would be directly eliminated because of their carelessness or haste. What? Have you lost your confidence? At this time, Green Spirit had also reached her seat. Only Yu Dan was between them, so it was very convenient for her to talk to Ling Xiao, who knew what this fellow had learned from the leader of the Green Vine cult. He looked rather pleased with himself. Have you forgotten the matter of the preliminaries so quickly? You really don't learn from your mistakes. Your master only imparted you the ability to refine pills, but did not teach you how to conduct yourself. Ling Xiao smiled coldly and said, "Whether I have confidence or not, I will succeed. But you were brimming with confidence during the preliminaries, but the final result made people feel that it was hilarious. Out of the 20 medicinal ingredients, you identified 18. I really don't know where your pride comes from." Green Spirit was somewhat regretful. He really should not have bickered with Ling Xiao, this fellow. In terms of eloquence, he really could not beat him. He shut his mouth and did not speak any more. He just gritted his teeth fiercely and thought to himself, "Humph, wait and see. In the main competition this time, I will definitely make you completely shut your mouth." Seeing Green Spirit not make a sound, Ling Xiao also could not be bothered to talk nonsense with him. Doing his own thing was the most important thing. Everyone had already reached their respective seats. A black protective wall suddenly rose up on everyone's seat. This was prepared to prevent cheating or interfering with other people's pill refinement. The countdown already started. When the crisp sound of the bell rang, everyone began to do their own things. Some people were still studying medicinal ingredients and pill formulas. Some people already took out their respective cauldrons and started preparing to refine pills. Isn't this first round of assessment a little too difficult? The Greenvine cult sect master suddenly asked the Bauha Hall's hall master by the side. At the very least, shouldn't they be given some hints? Sect master's words are wrong. These 100,000 people are all elite alchemists from the heavenly fiend ghost realm. If they can't even see through those traps, then being eliminated is not unjust. Bauha Hall's shopkeeper smiled and said, "Actually, this first round of assessment, to say it's hard is also hard, to say it's easy is also simple. As long as the foundation is solid and serious enough, they will definitely discover all the traps. After that, they will refine outstanding medicinal pills. Is it easy? Many people here actually did not discover it, right? This first round of assessment absolutely cannot use fire, because this medicinal pill belongs to the water attribute. Once fire is used, it will severely damage the medicinal pill's attributes. From there, it will become a waste pill. There's a kind of pill refinement called water method in pill refinement. Any alchemist should have grasped it. I'm just afraid that they won't remember it." The Greenvine cult's sect master continued. Sect master is still amazing. You can see through the second most difficult trap at a glance. Bauha Hall's shopkeeper looked in the direction of the crowd. Some people had already hurriedly started to refine pills with fire. However, as soon as they put the medicinal herbs into the cauldron, the flames burned. The puppets next to each table let out sharp cries. Eliminated. These people were eliminated before they could even figure out what they had done wrong. In an instant, 10,000 people were directly teleported out of the small world. Why? I can't accept it. Why did I fail? It's not up to you to accept it. As for why you failed, wait until the first round of assessment is over. You will naturally know the answer. Although these people were not convinced, they had no choice. They did not dare to go head-on against the Yu family. They could only wait patiently, because these 10,000 people were eliminated. As a result, many people did not dare to refine pills immediately and became more careful. Although they did not know how those people were eliminated, there was definitely a problem. Therefore, they naturally had to be careful. You just said that the water method is only the second most difficult trap? Then what is the first most difficult trap? The Greenvine cult's sect master asked curiously. Well, please allow me to keep you in suspense. You will know after it's over. Bauha Hall's shopkeeper smiled. The Greenvine cult's sect master frowned and observed carefully. After a while, he finally smiled. So that's how it is. End of this chapter. Chapter 40, 213. The time limit for the first round was 3 hours. Therefore, for Ling Shao, he had more than enough time. When he sensed the malicious intent of the first round, he didn't dare to concoct pills recklessly. Pill recipes, ingredients, he started comparing them one by one. Being careful was very important for an alchemist. Of course, this process was nothing to him because he had the Tai Chi eye. Mr. Dongua, who was mixed in with the ingredients, was quickly identified by him. If there were any problems with the pill recipes, he would be able to carefully find them. This type of pill wasn't a high-grade pill. It was given to those who had just broken through to the divine core realm. If he wanted to concoct it, he would only need 10 minutes. Even an ordinary alchemist would only need an hour to concoct it. So, why was he given 3 hours? There was a lot to learn about this. Those who started concocting pills in a hurry were really stupid. He didn't know why they were in such a hurry. There was no one chasing after them. Separated by the black wall, he activated the Tai Chi eye and saw Yu Dan and Lu Ling were also carefully examining the ingredients and pill recipes. Although he hated Lu Ling and didn't have a good impression of Yu Dan, but he had to admit that all excellent alchemists had the same characteristic. That was being careful. If not, these two alchemists wouldn't have such good results in the preliminaries. All the traps in the first round were the most basic alchemy knowledge. As long as an alchemist studied hard, they would be able to discover them. But there are some alchemists. What they learned, they would quickly return to their teachers. Dozens of minutes later, another tens of thousands of alchemists were eliminated. When these alchemists were eliminated, they still didn't understand why they failed. So malicious. Ling Xiao smiled bitterly. After dozens of minutes of comparison and inspection, he found out that there were dozens of traps in the first round. Some of the small traps, even if they weren't discovered, wouldn't affect the pill concoction process, but the final result wouldn't be good. And some of the traps, once they weren't discovered, they would completely fail. Concocting pills with water. Ling Xiao smiled. After comparing the ingredients and the pill formula, he discovered this unknown pill. It contained a lot of water element. He couldn't concoct pills with fire, otherwise he would fail right from the start. Now he somewhat understood why so many people were eliminated from the beginning. He had probably fallen into this trap. In fact, it wasn't difficult to discover this trap, but it really required patience and care. Once he panicked and started to refine pills, it would be a waste. There were only so many medicinal herbs in total, so failure was absolutely not allowed. This was because an alchemist would not be able to successfully concoct a pill of this grade on the first try. The Yu family didn't need it. There was no problem in directly eliminating them. After a while, Ling Xiao realized that Yu Dan and Lu Ling had already started refining pills. Sure enough, the two of them were using the water method to refine pills. Refining pills with water techniques was also very particular. The first method was to use the high temperature of the water element to refine the medicinal herbs and refine the medicinal pills. The refined pills were the water pills. However, the medicinal pills refined using the water method were actually not very effective. Therefore, other than this method, another method was to infuse water elements into the flames. Precise control of the proportions. As a result, the flame would not be extinguished, but it could be used to refine pills. But those who could achieve this were truly as rare as phoenix feathers and Qilin horns. It was probably not easy for even the Lulua cult leader to do it, and what Ling Xiao wanted to do now was this kind of pill refinement. With the cooperation of the Taiji, he was confident that he could succeed on the first try. Whoosh! A ball of flame appeared in his hand. This flame was very strange, showing a blue light, as if it had a cold feeling. Is he also going to make such a stupid mistake? The Lulua cult leader was stunned for a moment. To be honest, he didn't like Ling Xiao, but he was still very impressed by Ling Xiao's performance in the preliminaries. But now, Ling Xiao actually showed a flame. What was he doing? There seems to be something wrong with his flames. The shopkeeper of Baohahal frowned. This is the flame of water fusion. How can this be? After being reminded by him, the Lulua cult leader took a closer look and was instantly shocked. I didn't expect that the Fire Emperor's disciple had already reached such a level. From the beginning, Lu Ling had lost. The Lulua cult leader sighed helplessly, although the first round of the examination was not over yet. But just from this level, the Lulua cult leader was sure that, at least in the first round, Ling Xiao's performance would be better than Lu Ling's. Why did he lose? Yu Xiangtian asked in confusion. After all, he was not an expert in pill refinement, so he was somewhat confused. Let me explain it to you like this. The difficulty of controlling the flame of water fusion is very difficult, even for me. The Lulua cult leader smiled bitterly. Let's make an example. It's also cooking, but if it's overcooked, it will definitely be eliminated. And Lu Ling and Yu Dan are more normal cooking methods, so they can make a very good pot of rice. But Ling Xiao's cooking is the best. It's because the methods are different. This is a problem of skill. Yu Dan and Lu Ling can think of it, but they can't do it. I see. Hearing the Lulua cult leader's explanation, Yu Xiangtian's eyes lit up. His gaze towards Ling Xiao was even more greedy. If this person could stay in the Yu family, it would be a great fortune for the Yu family. Ling Xiao naturally did not know what the outside world was talking about. The control of the flame of water fusion was very difficult, but under the control of the Tai Chi eye, it was also very simple for him. He carefully put the herbs he needed into the cauldron. Then he controlled the flame of water fusion to refine them. Because of the openness of this pill formula, there are many things that could only be explored by oneself. Normal pill formulas, other than the requirements of the herbs, had detailed records of the heat and so on. But these records were not written down, but attached to the pill formula through soul force. But this pill formula was not that complicated. Therefore, whether it was the control of the heat, the order of the herbs, etc., they all had to be controlled by oneself. This was a test of the alchemist's control and creativity. If it was an alchemist who only knew how to memorize and rely on fixed pill formulas, then he would definitely not be able to pass this stage. This stage was particular about meticulousness, patience, and creativity. In other words, what kind of pill could be refined in the end was all up to the alchemist himself. This made Ling Xiao's pill refining process much longer. Just the refinement of the herbs took a lot of time. At the same time, Yu Dan and Lu Ling were also experiencing the same thing. Although it was a water method to refine the pills, the refinement of the herbs and the control of the water temperature still needed to be paid attention. The slightest mistake could cause them to lose the whole game. However, the two of them looked very calm. Obviously, this kind of most basic test was not difficult for them. With the strength of these two people, they should be able to pass the first round easily. This chapter ends. Chapter 42:14. As time went by, more and more people were eliminated. Most of them went the wrong way. They didn't choose the water method to refine pills and didn't know the flame of melting water. Many of them fell into other traps after refining pills using the water method and were eliminated as a result. Some people didn't control the water temperature well during the process of refining pills. It directly blew up. Fortunately, they were martial artists. Otherwise, an ordinary person would have been drenched in scalding hot water. Almost every alchemist who was sent out of the examination hall would curse a few words of foul language from their mouths, or scold themselves, or scold the organizers. Some even squatted there and cried. Of course, among the 100,000 people, there were many powerful people. At this point, at least 50,000 people had entered the normal tempering process, including the woman in green. Although the woman in green was only a second-grade alchemist. But her basic knowledge was really very solid. The quality of the alchemists this time is really high. I didn't expect so many people to discover the technique of refining pills using the water method. Among them, there were even people who used the flame of melting water like Ling Xiao. Amazing, amazing! The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall was very happy. He didn't know how many people would stay in the first round of assessment. Anyway, within 3 hours, if they could refine a usable pill, they would pass. The result could only be known after the end, but he estimated that there would be more people. There should be at least 10 or 20,000 people. Of course, the most important thing was whether these people could find the most terrifying trap. If they didn't find it, it was possible that all of them would be eliminated. If all of them are eliminated, wouldn't it be a waste of time? Yu Xiangtian frowned. Brother Yu, don't worry. In my opinion, the number of people who pass the first round of assessment should be at least 1,000. The Lulua cult leader smiled and said, I have carefully observed the process of refining pills. If nothing unexpected happens, 1,000 people out of 100,000 will enter the second round of assessment. I hope so. Yu Xiangtian nodded, but he really didn't have much confidence. Time had already passed for about an hour. The number of eliminated people exceeded 40,000. This was simply crazy. Originally, there were 100,000 people, but less than 60,000 people were still in the examination room. Many people were so nervous that they were sweating. Some of the audience in front of the screen were even more nervous than the alchemists, because no one knew who would be eliminated in the next moment. At this time, Ling Xiao had already finished refining all the medicinal herbs he needed. The medicinal herbs in the cauldron turned into a sticky substance. What he needed to do next was to refine this viscous substance into a medicinal pill. This process was even more difficult. Not only did he have to control the heat, but he also had to pay attention to the compatibility of each ingredient. He relied on his sole power to control it. If he couldn't control it well, the pills he refined would be useless. Although it wouldn't cause the pot to explode, it was just an ordinary medicinal soup. It wasn't a pill at all. This was the difference between ordinary medicinal decoctions and medicinal pills. The pill contained the alchemist's soul. That was why it could produce such a strange effect. At a certain moment, the puppet's voice rang out again. Because Ling Xiao was too focused on refining pills, he actually didn't hear it. What's going on? Many people were stunned. They noticed that the alchemist had already successfully refined the pill, but the cicada still screamed mercilessly. It announced that he was eliminated. This is the last trap, and it's also the most difficult trap to find. The Luluo cult leader sighed. What kind of trap is it? Yu Xiangtian asked. Actually, it's nothing. After the pill is successfully refined, there are generally two ways to take it out. Using true essence to take it out, the pill will automatically fly out and fall into the hand or container. Using tools to take it out, although it's a little slower, the effect is similar. But there's a trap in this. This kind of pill absolutely can't directly touch the skin, metal tools, jade tools, or true qi. Once in contact, the pill will immediately change color and lose its original effect. The correct way is to use wooden tools to take it out and place it in a wooden box. These tools are actually on the table. But in order to confuse the contestants, the tools include metal, jade, wood, and so on. The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall replied, "This is too cruel. It's already the end." But he failed because of such a thing. Yu Xiangtian smiled bitterly and shook his head. Alchemists really weren't something that ordinary people could do. During this period, the cicada screamed nonstop. In an instant, there were only about 10,000 people left in the scene. A bunch of idiots. Luluo put the pill into the wooden box and sneered. This kind of pill has a medicinal ingredient that can't directly touch true essence, metal, jade, or skin. This is all in the medical books. Why don't these people understand? Yudan also shook her head gently and put the pill into the wooden box. Wow, these two are indeed the disciples of the Luluo cult leader and the demon emperor. They're really amazing. From the beginning to the end, there wasn't the slightest mistake. The audience in front of the screen admired Luluo and Yudan. But the strange thing was that Ling Xiao hadn't taken out the pill yet. Why? More than 2 hours had passed. There were only 10 minutes left, because the people on the field had successfully refined the pill. Apart from Ling Xiao, the rest of the people also placed their pills into the boxes. Therefore, the black barrier gradually disappeared. Seeing Ling Xiao's actions, Luluo couldn't help but mock. Brother Ling is really smart. By seeing what others do, you can avoid the final trap. Isn't this cheating? Yudan frowned. The people who had already been eliminated were even more unconvinced as they started to shout loudly. However, Ling Xiao still didn't take out the pill until the end of 3 hours. This made everyone except the shopkeeper of Baoha Hall, the Luluo cult leader, and the judges stunned. Has he given up? Or did he not succeed? But why hasn't he been eliminated? Not only the audience was confused, Luluo was also confused. He couldn't understand why this was the case at all. Okay, Ling Xiao, tell me, why didn't you take out the pill? The shopkeeper of Baoha Hall asked with a smile. As one of the judges of this alchemy conference, he naturally had a reason to ask. It's actually very simple. Although the wooden box won't have much effect on the pill, but there will still be a slight effect. And this pill, according to its effect, it's best to take it within 10 minutes of refining. When taking it, it's best to take it hot. This way, the effect will be best. The pill furnace can keep it warm for at least half an hour. So rather than taking it out, it's better not to take it out. Ling Xiao smiled faintly, and said his reason. 3 shao schwal omega. 3 cubed caret x caret o square meter is worth collecting.